Thank you. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to yet another special edition of the Liberian Diaspora Forum Weekly Talk Show. Today is obviously Monday, December 16, 2013. And the local time here in Minnesota is 5:30 p.m. I believe it's 6:30 p.m. on the East Coast. And our guest, Councilor Frederick Jayweh, Sunday, which our coast is in Colorado, and I believe it's 4:30 p.m. on that side. Tonight we have the privilege of hosting Attorney Frederick A.B. Jayweh of the Liberian Law Consultants Limited, based in Colorado, USA. Councilor Jayweh is Miss Ellie Conqueror's lawyer in the airport secret recordings and corruption case, and now we also know a counter lawsuit pending against the Liberian government. Now, if you are like me, you're probably wondering who is Councilor Jayweh. Of course, I know many of you know him. As I tried to research him last night, I've seen several writings from him on the listserv, so that tells me that he's pretty much known in the Liberian community. But for the record, when I look up on this official website, here's what I found. Graduating with honors from African Bible College, ABC, now African Bible College University, ABCU, in 1985. Frederick A.B. Jayweh, counselor at law, went on to the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law in 1990. In August 1999, through the goodwill and assistance of Dr. Sarah Morrison, PhD, the Economic and Political Officer at the United States near the city of Monrovia, Liberia, Councilor Jayweh was identified and recognized by the United States Department of State, along with 26 other attorneys and counselors from 27 developing countries around the world. He was granted a 2-month scholarship to visit the United States as an international visitor and scholar. Councilor Jayweh and his colleagues had the privilege to visit 10 out of the 50 states while in the United States. It was in the city of Denver, Colorado, that the idea to operate a general practice Liberian law firm came to Councilor Jayweh. While bearing these thoughts in mind and wondering how to make this idea a reality, Strom College of Law awarded Councilor Jayweh a full scholarship in August 2001 to study and earn his Masters of Law in American Comparative Law, MACLAW, degree without any assistance from the government and people of Liberia. He received his degree in 2002. Immediately after his graduation, Councilor Jayweh was hired as a full-time employee at Rocky Mountain Survivor Center, RMSC. At the time, he was the only Colorado-based refugee agency formed to provide exclusive support and services to torture survivors and asylum seekers in Colorado. The gentleman is overqualified. So, Councilor Jayweh, it's my pleasure to have you on this show, and I'd like to welcome you to the Liberian Forum, the Liberian Diaspora Forum Weekly Talk Show. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, and hello to everyone.
Hello. All the lines are closed right now, so they'll probably not. They heard you, but
okay.
You probably will not hear them because we have every line closed. So I'd like to begin by asking you if you wish to give us an introductory remark. The basis of this case, why we're here. Brief introduction, some introduction, so that sometimes that becomes the basis for most of our callers, partially. So the floor is all yours, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Krumah. I have wanted to come on the air to clarify certain issues, or many issues, with specific reference to the Ellen Corkrum case or cases, so that our people can understand actually what it is that happened in the Liberian court system, and who are those responsible for what, and how applicable the laws of Liberia, both civil and criminal justice system, should be, and who actually supposed to appear before the courts of Liberia. I am concerned with misinformation and distortion of the information relating to the two cases, specifically the indictment that has been found, and those that are named in it with Ellen Corkrum and Judge Melvin Johnson. So I thought to ask to come on the show to be able to clearly put forth what are the laws governing trial proceedings in Liberia, both civil and the criminal justice system, and who is actually responsible for what. Because at the end of the day, it is sad that both educated Liberians as well as attorney at law and counselor at law have been making statements very contrary to the case that is currently pending in Liberia or the cases that are pending in Liberia. So coming on and setting the record straight is my prime interest. I must add, though, that I am here basically to state what the law is, clarify the minds of our people to understand what the procedure and practice will be, and not to address myself to the political aspect of the case. People may have interest in that. I may not have that much interest in talking politics. I have much more interest in making sure that point by point our people understand the Liberian legal system and the process that is involved. This is not about Corkrum and Melvin Johnson specifically. It's about Liberians who could get trapped into a legal system that they do not understand and what the process is and who may be responsible for what. So that's why I'm here, and I'm hopeful to be able to do that. Our law office has 50 hours of pro bono services that we will provide since we've been established, so that we can be able to honor our lesson. That's part of the community outreach and pro bono services that we intend to provide. That's why I'm here.
Thank you, Councillor Jayweh. Very eloquent. Well, folks, so many of you keep logging on, and I'm sure some of you were here before when we were not here. I apologize again. It's entirely my fault. I arrived here a little late due to the prevailing weather, condition in Minnesota here. But we have our guest here, Councillor Jayweh, and he just completed his brief remark. And I'd like to begin also by letting you know that those of you who had the privilege of listening to Judge Melvin Johnson the other day, that audio has since been uploaded on YouTube. The last time I looked yesterday, 55 to 60 of you, only 60 of you have visited that. I thought that was a little shocking given the number of people who turned on the show to hear the man. But just so you know, that audio is already on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, type in Liberian Diaspora Forum, and all the videos. Now, all of it, selective audio should be under there. We found so many shows that we cannot upload every show, every single one on there. Now, when the Liberian National Anthem was playing before we started the show, you might have heard that caution, this is the time to ask question. I did so deliberately since we're running behind time. I already have your question lines open. So if you have any question, comment, or concern, this will be just the perfect time to dial *61 on your phone, *61 on your phone, and your question will come over here, and we will get it over to Councillor Jayweh. Councillor, once again, see questions coming through crazy. Councillor Jayweh, once again, thank you for joining us. Let me begin by asking you, Councillor Jayweh, do you realize that what you're going up against? You are trying to represent people, who have been indicted by the whole government of the Republic of Liberia. So you're trying to go up against the government of Liberia. Why are you doing this? And then the other thing is, I just read an article before coming on the show. It is my understanding that this trial begins this coming Wednesday, and here you are, staying in Colorado, now in Liberia. So why is that?
Well, the way I wanted to proceed is to give our audience a history of the case itself. Why
go ahead, do that, yeah.
Why are we here, and why are we in fact in Colorado and not in Liberia, as you ask?
Yeah.
First, let me inform the public that this case has a very interesting history. It started early 2013. In Corkrum, go back. The case itself started in 2012. On August 6, 2012, Corkrum was hired by the government of the Republic of Liberia on a definite form of contract. A definite form of contract is a contract that states specifically how long a person is hired for. In the situation of Corkrum, she was hired for 1 year as acting managing director of the Liberian Airport Authority by the government of Liberia by and through the board of directors of the Liberian Airport Authority. So Ellen got to Liberia, and under that contract, the government of Liberia agreed to transport the personal effects and other stuff of Ellen Corkrum from the United States of America to the Republic of Liberia after the contract was signed and she was employed. So that is what started the relationship between the Liberian government and Madam Ellen Corkrum. Ellen started her regular legal job after the contract was signed on August 6, 2012. In some between December to early January 2013, the managing board of director of the Liberian Airport Authority started to send series of text messages and information to Ms. Corkrum, specifically from Mr. Musa Bility, charging that
the former board chair,
who is also indicted, charging that the government of Liberia no longer needed the services of Ms. Corkrum and that she should turn over the office of the managing director over to the board, being the constituted and statutory arm of the Liberian Airport Authority. Again, I want to remind Liberians that there existed and there still exists a contract of employment between the Liberian Airport Authority and Ellen Corkrum. After a while, early February 2013, the government finally put an end to Ms. Corkrum working in Liberia as the managing director of the Liberian Airport Authority, LAA for short. After that, a letter was sent to Ellen Corkrum from the chairman of the board, Mr. Bility, saying that the government of Liberia did not need her services any longer. Right after that, Mr. Bility, members of the Liberian government, ministers, and other important officials took on to the airway and began to tell the world that Ellen Corkrum defrauded the Liberian government of almost $1 million United States dollars and fled the country. That was here. There were all of the newspapers in Liberia carried such a story. The radio stations in Liberia carried such a story. The Ministry of Information conducted conferences carrying such a story with the transport minister and other important ministers that the government had to its disposal when and carried out such a story. So we were contacted then by Madam Ellen Corkrum to say that her reputation was being injured and damaged, so she wanted to know what could be done under the Liberian law. We then proceeded, after discussion and signing a retainership contract, an employment contract with Madam Corkrum, we sued the government of Liberia, Liberian Airport Authority, on the 10th of March 2013 in an action of damages for defamation of character. The Liberian Law Consultant Limited, representing Madam Corkrum, filed an action of damages for defamation of character, asking for the court to grant us general and special damages of $25 million against the Liberian Airport Authority, obviously against the government of Liberia. That was on March 10, 2013. On April 15, 2013, Madam Corkrum also told us that she had an employment contract which was definite and could not be canceled unless the 1 year has finished. So she was fired before even 4 months could get finished. Therefore, she wanted to file a suit. We also sued the Liberian Airport Authority in an action of damages for breach of employment contract. This time, we are asking for $130,000, which is the actual salary Madam Corkrum was hired on $13,000 per month. She was paid $13,000 per month. She worked for officially for 2 months, so the government is still owing her 10 months. That's why the second suit was filed by our office, the law office of Liberian Law Consultant Limited, on the 15th of April 2013. I am I'm much more keen about these dates because I want our audience to know why are we here and why all of this is about indictment and so forth. So we sue in March and we sue in April. Ellen Corkrum sued the Liberian government for defamation of character in March. She sued the Liberian government for breach of contract, employment contract in April 2013. Thereafter, in order to see whether this matter could be compromised or it could be settled out of court, Madam Corkrum called the President of Liberia when she was visiting the United States of America and said, Madam President, we want to see how best we can settle the two cases against your government. What do you have to say? President Salib at the time said that you, and I'm quoting, you have sued us and we are going to sue you. So we don't have anything to discuss with you. That's what she said to Madam Corkrum. So then thereafter, on the 31st of July 2013, the Liberian government got an indictment against Ellen Corkrum, LBDR, Melvin Johnson, and others, indicating that they defrauded the Liberian government and the Liberian people of $269,000 while she was acting managing director or employed as managing director of the Liberian Airport Authority. Now, that history is important because I want the audience to know what suits were filed first, because there is a distortion out there that Ellen Corkrum sued the Liberian government immediately after the indictment had been found against her. That's not true. In March, we sued. 2013, we sued. Ellen sued. In April 2013, Ellen sued. The government of Liberia did not find its indictment until the 31st of July 2013. So we're talking about months down the road. Immediately when the indictment was found, Madam Corkrum and Melvin Johnson were no longer in Liberia. They were now back into the United States. And what the government of Liberia did, it published the indictment word for word on Front Page Africa. Now, to get to your question why the case may be starting sometime Wednesday, why Ellen Corkrum or Councillor Jayweh may not be in Liberia, why aren't we in Liberia and trying to defend the interests of Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson? First, let me inform the public that since the government of Liberia issued its indictment on the 31st of July 2013, Madam Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson have not been served with any form of legal paper from the government of Liberia. There has been no indictment served on Melvin Johnson. There has been no indictment served on Ellen Corkrum. Now, in addition to that, there have been no writ of arrest served on Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson, and they have not been arrested. They are not under the jurisdiction of the court. They have no legal paper from the Liberian government, so they are not in Liberia because the case in question is perhaps being tried in the radio and in the newspaper and on the internet. Ellen Corkrum has not been served. Melvin Johnson has not been served. No writ of arrest has been served on them. They are peaceful and honorable people in the United States, and so we are not in Liberia because we got no business being there. If our clients are not being served with any paper from the government of Liberia, there's no reason to be in court to attempt to try to represent them, when in fact we're only hearing that they have been served. I mean, they are being indictment issued, but they are not being served. Now, your question is whether we go against the Liberian government. Yes, we are. As a trained attorney, we are interested in defending the interests of every Liberian that has a case that we think have relevant and have merit for us to defend. We are running an exclusive Liberian law office, and this office is responsible to provide services to people who can pay, as well as those people who may not have money to pay, and there are issues that we think are relevant to Liberian law and their interests should be addressed. Even though there is a case starting in Liberia, Wednesday,
Wednesday.
Two things are happening. I follow the case very intensely. One, the government of Liberia, which is interesting. The government of Liberia, through the county attorney of Liberia, has informed Criminal Code C and the world that the government of Liberia has served an indictment and a writ of arrest on Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson. That's not true. I'll tell you the process. Currently, the case that is supposed to start on Wednesday, you will note that the case, the LBDR and there's another bank that is also named as a defendant, have filed a petition, a motion for severance. What that really means is that the banks are asking for a separate trial from Ellen Corkrum and the rest of the defendants. The court has ruled on that, allowing for the banks, LBDR and the other bank, which I don't remember right now, to be able to have the hearing separate from Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson. Also on Wednesday, before Wednesday, Mr. Musa Belete, who is a defendant also in the case, has also gone to court along with his legal attorney, and they have filed a motion for severance, motion to hold a separate trial for Musa Belete, for Mr. Musa Belete. So there are motions. There are two motions before the court. One has been determined, which is the bank, and the banks would have separate trial. And the second motion that the court will determine on Wednesday will be a motion for severance or to hold separate trial for Mr. Musa Belete. Now, it is not clear whether Mr. Musa Belete wants to have separate trial in joint relationship with the banks. What I do know is that it appears to me that Musa Belete wants to be tried separately from the bank and Ellen Corkrum. Since Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson have not been served, they are not part of the trial that is supposed to start on Wednesday. And you also know that the motions for severance were not filed by the government of Liberia. The motions were filed by the counsel for the defendants. So the government of Liberia has not filed a motion to separate Ellen Corkrum from any of the counsel can file. The defendant can file a severance. But interestingly, since the government has this case, and the case is so national and internationally important, we were told that the government will file a motion of severance or ask for enlargement of time to be able to proceed. Now, so on Wednesday, we have no business being there. We'll not be there because our clients have no reason to be before the court because our clients are now under the jurisdiction of court. That leads me to discussing what is the difference between the civil justice system of Liberia and what is the difference between the criminal justice system of Liberia. How are legal proceedings started in a civil case and how are legal proceedings started in a criminal case. I want our audience to pay very keen attention because, again, there is the discussion that Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson are hiding in the United States, hiding behind dual citizenship, and are refusing to return to Liberia. In fact, as you put a question, some people have asked me, Councillor Jayweh, why aren't you in Monrovia? And my answer to them, I got no business being in Monrovia unless there is a case that I have to defend for my client. In Liberia, there are two systems. There is what is referred to as the civil justice system, where all civil cases are heard and determined, and there is the criminal justice system. In the civil justice system, according to the Civil Procedural Law, Section 3.31, an action is commenced in the civil justice system if it is in the magistrate or justice of the peace court. An action is commenced by a complaint and the issuance of a writ of summons. If it is before any of the circuit court, preferably before the 6th Judicial Circuit Court, which is the civil law court, an action is commenced by the filing of a formal complaint, which could be a written complaint with the clerk of the civil law court, and the clerk would indicate the date the complaints were filed. In our case, the date we filed a complaint, and the clerk will then issue a writ of summons. Why are writ of summons important in civil cases? Writ of summons are important in civil cases, and I'll come to criminal case, but I'm dealing with civil case right now. In civil cases, because the court or courts before whom a defendant in a civil case is supposed to appear and defend himself or herself will have no power over the defendant if a writ of summons is not attached to the complaint and served. So actually, a writ of summons is important in a civil case because it gives the trial court jurisdiction over the defendant and the plaintiff. In the case of Corkrum, we filed a complaint, a complaint action of damages for defamation of character, which is libel, and we also went ahead and asked the court to issue a writ of summons to be served on the Liberian Airport Authority. After a writ of summons is issued and served, then the defendants in a civil case or defendants in a civil case will be brought under the jurisdiction of the court. The court then have power over the defendants after a writ of summons is served. So a complaint alone in the absence of the writ of summons will not cause the court to have jurisdiction over any defendant. The other thing is that the writ of summons will name the person in question. It will name it will state their address. We say when they're supposed to appear, answer to the civil complaint, and so forth. Now, that's in a civil case. So once the writ of summons is served along with a complaint, the court have jurisdiction over the defendant in a civil case. In a civil case, the defendant or defendants are never arrested. They are served with a writ of summons and a copy of the complaint. There is a real confusion between understanding what a civil case is and what occurred in a civil case as compared to a criminal case. In a civil case, the defendants are not arrested. They are served with a copy of the complaint and a writ of summons, and they are told to appear within 10 days' time and file an answer to the complaint if they have any. So the court officer will serve the writ of summons along with the complaint and leave, go back to the court and report that he or she has served the defendants. The defendant's liberty will never be restrained in a civil case. They are given a chance to come to court to defend themselves. That's in a civil case. How is a criminal case commenced in Liberia? In Liberia, a criminal case is commenced by either a complaint made to a magistrate or the justice of the peace, or a criminal case is commenced by the filing of an indictment. Anytime there is an indictment found by a sitting grand jury, a criminal case is commenced, but the indictment alone will not bring the defendants under the jurisdiction of the court. The indictment must be in addition to a writ of arrest. Now, there's a difference between writ of arrest and writ of summons. Writ of summons says, come and defend yourself so time. A writ of arrest, along with the indictment, will arrest the defendant right there and then and coerce them to take them over to the court, and they will have to file a bond if they need to file a bond, or they will not be allowed to leave after a writ of arrest and indictment is served. In the case of Melvin Johnson and Corkrum, none of those things have happened. No writ of arrest has been served. A copy of the indictment have not been served. The responsibility, in a criminal case, the responsibility to have an indictment drawn is upon the government of the Republic of Liberia. The responsibility to have a writ of arrest issued is upon the government of the Republic of Liberia. The responsibility to have a defendant served with a copy of the indictment is on the Republic of Liberia. It's on the shoulders of the Republic of Liberia. The responsibility to arrest a defendant or defendants and bring them under the authority or the jurisdiction of the court rests with the Republic of Liberia and not the defendant. Mind you, why I'm saying all of this is that there are information out there that Corkrum and Melvin Johnson are hiding in America. They don't want to return to Liberia they have committed a crime and they have fled Liberia. They are not hiding. While I speak to you, Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson have sent packages. Many, almost, I have one right in my office, packages containing all of the corrupt attitude that they thought the government carried out while they were there. They have informed the Justice Department here in the United States. They have informed the State Department here in the United States. I guess they have informed the relevant U.S. institution. Ellen Corkrum herself has written the President pro tem of the Senate of the Republic of Liberia and asked that the Senate in its special session hold a hearing on what occurred while she was managing director. Nothing has happened. Since the government issued the indictment and arrested a few people in Monrovia, Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson have not been contacted by the government, either by the government of the Republic of Liberia or the government of the United States in any other proceeding. So they are here as free citizens. So the indictment that the government has reference to has no effect because it has not been served on anybody. So a rate of arrest that the government used to arrest Musa Belete and the bank officials in Liberia had not been used to arrest Ellen Corkrum and others. I would want to stop there from, and then perhaps people may have questions, and we can proceed further.
Wow, thank you. I think all of us on here tonight, at the end of the night, we all deserve law degrees. I have just learned so much about the Liberian law, without having to pay any tuition. Thank you, Councillor Jayweh.
You're welcome.
Yes, indeed, you are right. We'll begin entertaining questions, and I'm sure we should not have any shortage of questions. You've given a lot of information regarding not just this case, but the Liberian criminal justice system as a whole. And while Councillor Jayweh was speaking, so many of you joined us. I'd like to welcome you to the Liberian Diaspora Forum weekly talk show. This is a special edition. It's on a Monday. And we have with us Councillor Frederick Jayweh, representing former Managing Director of Liberia Airports Authority, Ms. Ellie Corkrum. So we'll take the first question for the night, and if you are here, you want to ask question, please dial *61 on your phone, *61, and your number will come over here, and we will open your line for you to ask your question, make your comment, or express your concern. So with that said, let's take the first caller for the night. Your last 4 digit is 6542. Could you please tell us your name, where you're calling from, and your question for Councillor Jayweh? 6542.
Okay, thank you. My name is Cllr. I am calling from the state of Pennsylvania, to be specific, in the city of Brotherly-Law, Philadelphia. I have some series of concerns that I would like to express first. Basically, to make an argument, I don't have a question to ask Councillor Jayweh, but I'm one of those Liberians that he referred to who remarks and believe that Ellen Corkrum and her boyfriend are in hiding. So I would like to take that perspective and then put forth my argument.
But just be reminded, though, that the guest tonight is Councillor Jayweh, and we got other callers waiting, so you haven't got a whole lot of time, and it's not a debate between you and Councillor Jayweh right now. If you want to set up debate, we can certainly do something like that in the future. But for now, you just have a few minutes to ask a question, make a comment, or express a concern.
Kafumba, that said, Jayweh represents the legal interest of Ellen Corkrum, the alleged culprit of Safoni of the Liberian corporate, Ellen Corkrum, and her boyfriend. So we deserve the right to argue his point.
Absolutely, you do. But when we let you to argue, we will not get to other people. I'm just saying, if it interests you, and the councillor agree, I'd be more than happy to set up a debate just between you two. But for now, as you know, we always have one guest at a time, and the councillor is the guest. So you got limited time, and he has let
me not take your time long.
Okay.
Question number one for Councillor Frederick Jayweh, my dear good friend, is one. If you believe your client is innocent in fact, had legitimate contract with the government of Liberia, which you have filed or complained in the court and all of you. Why did they leave Liberia in such a way that they have to even be looking for way, assistance to escape Liberia? Why did they pursue that mean? Why did they set themselves in the flight mode, seeking assistance from top security personnel in order to help them escape the country? Which I believe they obtained. They did. That's all. And is that action by Ellen Corkrum, her boyfriend, which those of you who are lawyers, you say flight is an element of guilt. How does it fit? How does it fit with your client here? The fact that they pursue top security officials to help them escape, does that not suggest something to you that they have something to hide? Question number one. And the second question is to you. I mean, the second one, which I just want to make as a comment, is personal about Councillor Jayweh and all Liberians who may think otherwise. I think those of us who have the opportunity to live in this country and return home to work, we have a responsibility, a sacred duty to our country to make things right. There are instances, scores of instances, where Liberians have returned home, whether during the series of transitional government, that have stolen from Liberia and returned to the United States because they are dual citizens here. And sometimes government does not want to pursue the process of extradition because it will cost them thousands of dollars to hire another group of American lawyers to defend, to do that. Sometimes they just waive it. It is a bad omen, and you, Councillor Jayweh, as one of the lawyers who fought for human rights under Cllr, I think it is even bad for your reputation to represent in such a situation overseas. And I think what you're trying to do cleverly is to be part of the propaganda by Ellen Corkrum, her boyfriend, to buy into public support so they can remain in the United States and don't return to Liberia. I think Monrovia, the courts of Monrovia is a venue for you to take your argument, for you to defend. And the essence of advocacy is not to help others be shooed up from the law, but to help others to have access to justice. And I think that should be your core, and you should remain on that core. Then here, be here to have publicity given for Ellen Corkrum, her boyfriend. I'll stop there.
Thank you. You can always make a come back and ask a follow-up question if you wish to do so. Councillor Jayweh?
Yeah.
So the second one I'm told was a comment, but the question is the manner in which your client, left Liberia, not even going through the airport that she she arrived through. She had to go through Cllr and then giving all of the recordings with her, her seeking assistance from top national security personnel. Doesn't that suggest something to you? At the very least, if not guilt, do you not find something wrong with that, sir?
Well, my friend Gongo made he made an argument which is interesting. One of the things he said was that lawyers believe that flight constitutes guilt. I don't believe that. That's a general statement. I don't believe that because no law support that kind of thing. And let me answer to why Madam Corkrum. First, let me cite for our hearing the audience that my representation. Why am I representing Madam Corkrum? Section 2.2 of the Criminal Procedure Law provides that adequate legal representation an accused is entitled to, not may have, is entitled to adequate legal representation under the laws of Liberia. So we're not doing anything wrong by representing someone who needs legal representation and contact us. If Gongo had a case and he wanted us to represent him, we will represent him if we believe that he is entitled to adequate legal representation, especially so where there is a criminal case. Now, to the question of whether Ellen Corkrum fled along with Johnson fled Liberia, that's an interesting thing. And this is one of the things that people hold and say, oh, she's guilty, she fled, she's hiding, and so forth. Ellen Corkrum did not go around to security officers, as Mr. Gongo just presented, and asking for information. Tell me what the government of Liberia is about to do to me. They didn't do that. In the first place, the defense minister, this is the defense minister of the Republic of Liberia, when Ellen Corkrum and Johnson visited his office, not at his house, in his office, he confided in them. He told them that you are at risk. Your continue residency in Liberia is at risk. Tell me, if a security man tells you that, when the defense minister of a country tells you that, this is not a small potato in Liberia. Brandon Samukai is the defense minister of the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government. He told our clients that if you continue to stay here, your life is at risk. That's one. Secondly, the next top security officer in Liberia, I guess you may say second in command in terms of security activity in Liberia, was the director of police. And again, let me add, these two persons, Brandon Samukai and Chris Massacre, are very good people if they have not been in the forefront to tell Melvin Johnson and Ellen Corkrum that, look, there is a security order out there for you people. Your lives are at stake. Today, you and myself will be talking something different. Government usually will not tell you what happened after they have committed a gross violation of the law. In the case of the defense minister, he just said your lives are at risk. In fact, he made several calls. Before they didn't solicit the information, the Minister of Defense made these calls to people who said that this guy had not done anything. Somebody, the Julie Moore, who works for the president's office, said that Ellen Corkrum has not done anything. It's part of the tape. Julie Moore, the phone call is part of the tape. The director of police told Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson that the president had issued an order to have you people captured. Are you saying that their lives were not important? Are we saying that government has some kind of case against them that they should stay down in Liberia and get killed or disappear or something happened to them? I don't think that's what Mr. Gongo is saying. I don't think that's what Mr. Gongo is saying, because it was the security officer, the director of police, and these are good men. If these men had not been helpful in helping Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson to lead Liberia today, the story would be different. We understand that the director of police, knowing the gravity of the case, called the former chief of immigration and naturalization, Abda Gelebeku, my former classmate from the law school, and said, Abda, what is the situation? The message was played that, look, these people are all, their lives will be at risk. The director of police said, you didn't hear it from me, but it's the president who say we should go after you, both of you. Are you saying in order for an African president to go after two common individuals are not serious orders? So what did the director of police do? We understand he provided police escort. That's what an honorable citizen would do. He provided a police escort to Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson to leave Liberia. They did not flee Liberia. They left Liberia based upon the assistance of the director of police, I would say the government of Liberia, to get them through Sierra Leone, carry them to the border, got them out of danger, into Sierra Leone, back to the United States. When the government of Liberia hired Ellen Corkrum, it knew that Ellen Corkrum was a U.S. citizen. And besides, Ellen Corkrum is not even a U.S. citizen in the Ellen government. I know more than 10 lawyers who are U.S. citizens working for the government. When they left because the two top security persons, even more than that perhaps, had told them that your lives are in danger, so therefore they left. They did not flee, so there can be no imputation of guilt. The other thing that he said, which is a comment which is interesting for me, is that, because I've been a human rights lawyer in the Cllr government, I should sit down and allow the interests of people to go to wreck. The law of Liberia provides that every accused is entitled to competent representation. We believe we are experts in the Liberian law. We believe we have real understanding on how the court functions. I have more than 23 years of legal practice. We will not sit here and allow a trump-up case to be made against good citizens. Ellen has two decent degrees. This is a Liberian woman who coming from nowhere, who came to the United States, were able to attend MRT, and were able to graduate from Harvard University. With all of these qualifications, and she's a major in the U.S. Army. Should she have sat down in Monrovia and get killed based upon Ellen Johnson's order?
Councilor Jayweh?
Yes.
With all due respect, are you insinuating, are you implying that had Ellie Corkrum left the country the way she did, that she would have been killed? Is that still going on in Liberia? I mean, for God's sake, since Madam Ellie Justice Salif came to office, I mean, isn't witch hunting been over with? Have we heard anything like that? What are you saying?
Well, let me tell you one thing. I'm not implying. I'm stating directly that had Ellie Corkrum and Melvin Johnson remained in Liberia after the two top security people told them that your lives are at risk. It didn't come from Ellie Corkrum and Melvin Johnson. What else any common person will imply? That top security person said they were in security meetings with the president, and directly the director of police said, look, you are both ordered to be captured or arrested. What does it mean by capture? What are the implications of capture? Why would the president, if the president felt that Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson have committed a crime, why didn't she ask the Minister of Justice to investigate and then arrest them formally, so that we could say that their lives were not in danger? Why they had to go to private meetings, security meetings, and she ordered that they should not leave Liberia? Why wasn't that? Why that was not a public order? The Minister of Justice could have ordered them to not leave Liberia publicly, for the public to know that there is a case against Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson. Therefore, they are not supposed to leave. Why was the president involved? Are we saying that they would not have gotten killed or they would not disappear? Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows? It's a good question, but somehow something just tells me that it would have gone to that level. God forbid. I thought we've graduated from that stage in Liberia. Anyway, let's take another caller here. And Mr. Gonglo, as I said, you are more than welcome to come back with a follow-up comment or concern or question. We'll keep going here. Some of you just joined us. Let me welcome you to the Liberian Diaspora Forum Weekly Talk Show. We have Councilor, Frederick Jayweh here with us, representing Madam Ellie Corkrum in the airport saga. So we'll take the next caller here. 3997, 3997. Your name, where you calling from, your question for Councilor Jayweh. 3997. Hello. 443 Herico. 3997. Are you there?
What's the middle code? The middle number, please.
466. Once you're talking to me, then it's your line that's open.
Okay, that's my line. My name is Michael Miller.
Okay. Michael Miller, where are you calling from, sir?
I'm calling from Maryland, Baltimore.
Okay, welcome to the show.
Yes. Thank you so much for welcoming me to the show. And my question is, Mr. Jayweh, is his name Jayweh? Am I pronouncing it correct?
It's Jayweh.
Jayweh. Wow, since we all got to learn that. Jayweh.
Jayweh. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for being our midst today and then trying to explain to us in detail your representation for Madam Corkrum and Melvin Johnson. And that's the right thing to do. But what we want to know here is that, are you saying that you will prevail on your client to go to Liberia for this investigation? Can you do that for us?
Let me answer your question. That's a very good question.
Thank you.
It goes to what is the criminal justice system and who is responsible to have a defendant arrested and taken to court. My clients have no responsibility to appear in Liberia without the government of Liberia arresting them. We are, this is not a civil case, this is a criminal case. In a criminal case, the defendant will remain where they are until they are arrested and brought on the power or the authority or the jurisdiction of the court. The Liberian government holds the responsibility to serve Ellen Corkrum a copy of the indictment, which it has not done since the 31st of July 2013. The Liberian government is also required to serve Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson a copy of a writ of arrest if they have any. Now, I guess your next question would be, they are U.S. citizens, so how would they get to Liberia? I guess that would be your next question. My answer to that is that there is a legal process. There's a process referred to as an extradition proceeding. It is a proceeding where the government of Liberia will have to look around, do its own research and find out whether it has a treaty between the government of Liberia and the United States government to extradite or cause Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson to be arrested and turned over to the government, turned over to the State Department here and State Department over to the government of Liberia. As I speak to you, the government of Liberia has made no request. There's a process called a requisition process. It's a process on the extradition proceeding where defendants that are now within the bailiwick or who are now within the confine or the territory of a country, like in the case of Liberia, Ellen and Melvin are not in Liberia. So the government of Liberia, if it wanted to have its writ of arrest and the indictment said it will go by an extradition proceeding, it will prepare a document called a requisition, which is a request to have a quote-unquote fugitive arrested and turned over for crimes that are not political crimes for trial in a foreign country. As we speak to you, the government of Liberia has not done that. Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson have no responsibility to clear their name. I keep hearing people saying, why don't they go to Liberia and clear their name? No, they don't have any responsibility to do that. The law is the government, he who raises a complaint, especially a criminal complaint, he who charges a defendant on a criminal proceeding is responsible to prove that that person is guilty, is responsible to get them arrested, is responsible to serve them a copy of the indictment. If you don't, that's your problem.
This is getting interesting by the minute. So let me get this right, Councillor Jayweh. So you are actually representing Madam Corkrum now because of the indictment, and it has nothing to do with, but rather her character, assassination, defamation of character, as you put it earlier, and the counter lawsuit. But as far as the indictment goes, that doesn't exist, in this lawsuit. Is that correct?
As far as the indictment goes, our client had no knowledge that there is an indictment.
Well, isn't it sad? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a lawyer. I've never been near law school. Mm-hmm. Isn't it sad that the fact that the indictment has been, as you rightly stated, the indictment was published word for word on Front Page Africa, and if the client saw that, just as you saw it, doesn't that constitute a legal indictment? Does it have to be hand-delivered? No,
anything can be published on the internet. Anything can be published by anybody from Liberia calling themselves lawyer. The process of serving an indictment and getting a writ of arrest is not through a newspaper and through the internet. The Minister of Justice is on a duty to go find the defendants and arrest them, restrain them from further moving. In the absence of doing that, you can show us anything on the internet. You can put it on CNN, you can put it on whatsoever station you call it. That's not an indictment.
Under the laws of Liberia.
Under the laws of Liberia, an indictment is a bunch of allegations drawn up by a government. In the case of Liberian government, it's a bunch of allegations drawn up by the Liberian government taken before a 15-man person called grand jury. The grand jury agreed that a crime is presumed, mind you, is presumed to have been committed. And the grand jury will sign on to that, and what they call a true bill, which is an indictment, will be taken over to the court. When that indictment is taken over to the court, it is read by the clerk of court.
And this indictment was brought upon through a special grand jury of Musrado County. I understand. So it seems that was legit. And then when you did your initial remark, you don't seem to have any doubt that the indictment published on Front Page Africa was indeed by the government of Liberia. Do you have any doubt?
Well, look, I don't have. Let me come back, maybe straighten the facts. I don't have a doubt that the government of Liberia said it has prepared an indictment. That's not my doubt. What I'm saying is that the government of Liberia, having prepared an indictment and claim to have, again, legal term, claim to have indicted Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson, who names are all over the newspaper today, should have gone further with its responsibility to serve copy of the indictment on Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson, should have gone further to arrest Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson. Then in that case, Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson will know that there is an indictment against them and that they have been brought under the jurisdiction of the court, and a copy of the indictment have been given to them. I, Councillor Jayweh, had a copy of the indictment. Why? Because as a lawyer, I wanted to know what was in the indictment. But that doesn't mean my client has been served. I'm not a defendant. All I did was to be able to get a copy of the indictment that Front Page published. Or I wanted the official copy, so I went to the court and got a copy of the indictment. But that doesn't mean that the government of Liberia has served Ellen Corkrum. That doesn't mean that Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson have been arrested conformity with the Liberian criminal procedure law. In the absence of that, an indictment is said to be found against them, an indictment is said to be pending against them, an indictment has had no effect on them.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Let's take another caller here. Too many callers waiting. 8237, 8237. Could you please tell us your name, where you're calling from, and your question for Councillor Jayweh? 8237.
Yes, I'm Mohammed Dukle from Minnesota.
Okay.
Councillor Jayweh.
Mohammed Dukle, how are you?
I'm good. I've been following you throughout, from all media, let's say, front page or whatsoever, because you do peripheral writing, talking against the ills, be it corruption or bad governance in Liberia. It has now baffled me a lot for you to come and represent people that are being alleged that they embezzle our country, Liberia, money. Here is it. They are claiming to say that they are crusader on corruption. And let me bring a point to you. On December 4th, 2012, as the managing director of Liberian Aviation Authority, Madam Corkrum, and Judge Melvin Johnson serving as legal advisor, you normally gave a work contract to SSF Entrepreneur and Diaspora Consulting team, in which they said that they have no link to these institutions. And Melvin Johnson, through the Diaspora Forum, said that the SSF was a very good place, the SSF Entrepreneur, to be a very good institution. And now, this institution did not pass through the PPC, the Public Procurement Concession Contract in Liberia, by advertising. And they did not raise any red flag to the Liberian government for corruption. Only when their contract on February 12, 13, after war, that they started raising flag that there is corruption in Liberia. And December 4th, they did not raise any contract. As a legal advisor, don't you think that these people are not worthy for you to represent them, as you be claiming yourself to be a human rights advocate, talking against the ills in Liberia?
Okay.
And then, I'm coming, please.
Yeah,
and
it's taking a lot of time. Yeah, right.
You talk about indictment. Don't you think that Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson had address in Liberia, Montserrado County, and the indictment was set to them, not known to the government of Liberia? They are fleeing. They are fleeing from Liberia. Don't you think that they have something on their sleeve? And your credibility is at stake as a human rights advocate, talking against the ills of Liberia, when in fact these two people are alleged to be part of the ills in Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me legally answer your question. One, I will refer you to, if you have time, it's on the internet. I will refer you to Section 2.1 of the Criminal Procedure Law. It says, all defendants are presumed innocent until reasonable, and where there is reasonable doubt, they are entitled to an acquittal. It also says adequate representation. The law 2.2 says adequate legal representation is to be accorded all accused persons. It also says where there are no legal representation, where they don't have lawyers to represent them, the government of Liberia is required by law, it's mandated to provide them legal counsel. So Councillor Jayweh is not doing anything wrong. Councillor Jayweh is only representing a client who he believes has strong legal points to be represented. And another thing I need to say that all Liberians, every person charged with a crime in Liberia is entitled to a lawyer of his choosing or her choosing. Where they don't have money to pay, the government of Liberia is supposed to pay for the lawyer to represent them. So no one is supposed to go without representation. That's one. The other thing is that his question seems to impute integrity issue on Johnson and Corkrum, that saying that, don't you think that these people, even though he say alleged, but he also said that, don't you think that represent these people will impute upon your representation or your character? No. I do not believe as a lawyer that Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson have committed a crime. I do not believe that. If the government of Liberia, and it is not my responsibility to believe that, if the government of Liberia has concluded that Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson committed a crime in Liberia as a charge in the indictment, make the thing simple. Why not serve your indictment? Why not serve your writ of arrest? Why not get the defendant arrested? Why not put them in custody? Why not ask the State Department to take them back home for trial? These people cannot go before a court in Liberia when the president of Liberia has said in security meeting that they should be captured. Why you want them to go there? Why we in Liberian want them to go there? The other thing that is interesting.
Well, Councillor, those were alleged, though. No one has heard, certainly not me, I have not heard the president of Liberia on any recording saying that it should be captured. Well, we have heard the police director alleging that the president, he was in meeting, but that has not been verified yet.
Well, I don't think we need verification. If we're having legal trial, if the best witness, the law provides that the best evidence is the evidence that is available. The director of police does not work for Councillor Jayweh Law Office. The director of police does not work for Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson. The director of police and the minister of defense, they are legally employed officials of the government. In fact, they are responsible for security. They testified and said that Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson's lives are in danger. The other thing is that what I want people to understand is that the fact that a person is charged with a crime does not mean that a person has committed a crime. Let's get that straight. The fact that Melvin Johnson and Ellen Corkrum are named on a purported indictment. I say purported because the indictment has not been served on any one of them. It is something circulating around Monrovia. The other thing you said was that they have addresses in Monrovia. I don't know whether they have addresses. I don't live in Monrovia. I live in the United States, so I don't know whether they have addresses in Monrovia. The other and if they think they have addresses in Monrovia, is that why not serve the indictment there?
Yeah, I was just going to say that was a valid point he brought out, though. I mean, assuming that they had addresses in Liberia and the indictment was mailed to those addresses and it was delivered, it is upon them whether they receive it or not. All the government has to prove was that indictment was brought upon them and a copy of which was served to them, delivered through the mailing system, assuming all was right. Would that be enough?
No. The indictment is never served by mail. Indictment is physically delivered by officers of the government of Liberia, court officers, to the defendants. Unlike a civil complaint where if the defendant cannot be found, you can mail the complaint over to the defendant's last known address. An indictment does not work that way. The government will have to actually physically meet the defendants in question and arrest them one by one. But let me tell you what the government did, which is interesting. The moment the indictment was released on the 31st of July 2013, what happened next day? Front Page Africa had the entire indictment in there. Why were the government doing that? Because they were supporting the process of defamation of character. They meant to damage these two people's names so that when they ever return to the United States, whatever jobs they were doing, they will lose it. It is unusual. In fact, it is contempt of court that an indictment is found with a writ of arrest issued why the writ of arrest is issued and all the defendants are now being arrested, no one is allowed by law to publish an inch of information from the writ of arrest or the indictment, because an indictment is a secret document. All of the defendants will have to be arrested before the press get to know. What did the government do? The government called a press conference. What was the press conference about? Why Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson were not even in the country? The Ministry of Justice called a press conference. Front Page Africa published the indictment. And not even the writ of arrest, because Front Page Africa may not even have copied the writ of arrest. An indictment cannot be published in the newspaper. It has to be served. Cannot be delivered by mail. It has to be served. The writ of arrest has to arrest the people there and then stop them from moving and going any other place. The government librarian has not done that. So the government librarian may not have any case against Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson.
Okay. Let's take another caller. Let's see what 9271 has to say. 9271, your name, where you calling from, and your question for Councillor Jayweh. 9271.
Yeah, this is George Toto from Facebook.
Hey, George Toto, long time. You abandoned me. Welcome to the show.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Councillor, and also thank you, the moderator. The other concerns I have when it comes to Melvin Johnson and Eddie Corkrum situation, these are two good sons and daughters of Liberia. And I would really appreciate for due process to take a rightful course. But being that the way in which they left Liberia, a hang of dark cloud was a situation, I would be happy for them to go back home and then to go through the due process with their lawyer and also the attorney they have or the defense counsel they have to go and present a case and clear their name out of it, because we are fighting for a good and stable and democratic Liberia, which Councillor Jayweh is one of the bigger issues in government right and not on the ill that affect the Liberian society. And being, as somebody said, being a human rights lawyer, he coming out to represent these two individuals, he really speak a lot about who he is. So our personal level due process already take place in the process here concerning the two good sons of Liberia. That's all I just wanted to say.
All right. Well, George Toto, thanks for coming on the show.
Can I make a comment to Mr. Toto?
Yeah.
Mr. Toto, how are you? I hope that you're well. It is interesting. I keep hearing that the defendants should go to Liberia, that Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson should go to Liberia and clear their name. They got no responsibility. There's no legal responsibility. And I keep hearing that due process should take its course. So by Mr. Toto's understanding of due process, that the defendant should return, Madam Corkrum and Melvin Johnson should return to Liberia to be tried. That's not what the law is. The law is that the government that charged, that formed an indictment against Melvin Johnson and Ellen Corkrum is responsible. The responsibility to get the indictment served, to get Melvin Johnson arrested and get Ellen Corkrum arrested and taken to court for trial is upon the Republic of Liberia. That's part of the due process. They are not, again, I won't want to mention his name, but there is an elderly person in Liberia who has worked in government for so long. I was shocked when he wrote and said that Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson are hiding. They should return to Liberia. This is a guy who was arrested when Charles Taylor wanted to, after September 18, 1998, I was still in Liberia. When the Camp Johnson Road fighting went on and the Taylor government decided to arrest people who they thought were responsible for treason, the government arrested this particular person. He was involved. He was arrested. You were not involved in the charge, as Taylor was saying, but he was arrested. He, along with 9 other persons, were arrested. So the process of getting a criminal defendant to court is by way of the service of an indictment and the arrest. The fact that a lawyer represents another defendant, it doesn't mean that his reputation is at stake. We represented General Jali and the rest of the people in Liberia. General Jali and 15 officers who were arrested and charged with sedition before the military tribunal. Are we saying that General Jali and the rest of the people should have gotten killed by the Charles Taylor government because they were charged with sedition and no lawyer should have gone there? lawyers are under responsibility to represent their client based upon their professional consciences and able to determine whether or not the case in question, his client have a right. Under the laws of Liberia, the process of proving a defendant guilty is not on the defendant. It's on the state. It's on the Republic of Liberia. Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson, by law, can go to court and decide not to even say anything. The government of Liberia will be required to prove their case. After they arrest their case, let me tell you another process. After the government arrest this case, and we feel as defense counsel that the government have not proven that they committed a crime, we can move for we can file a motion of what you call it, a judgment of acquittal. We can file a motion in between trial, ask the court to acquit the defendant because the government have not proven it. So the responsibility is on the government. It's not on anyone that is accused. When you are accused, you are not a criminal. You are accused, and there is an allegation made. An indictment is not proof. A writ of arrest is not proof.
Okay. Let's hear from another caller, Councilor. And by the way, this caller that we're about to hear from, Mr. Jayweh and Sister Cecilia, Happy, Josh Toto, Vamba Fofana, and a couple of other people have been very helpful in volunteering their time for the Liberian Diaspora Forum. They've helped us with publication of our announcements. They've helped us to track down guests and bring them on. I want to publicly thank them. I'm grateful. The show would not be without them. So keep up the good jobs, brother. I was saying, Jayweh, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Welcome to the show. Your question.
Yes, Brother Cllr, thank you. And thank you, too, for what you do for our community. We need this kind of exchange so we can be educated and be informed. Let me also salute our able counselor for responding to the call. I'm a little bit troubled. Yeah, I'm a little bit troubled. And this is why sometimes I always ask myself the hard question, what really happening to us? Over and over, we heard the counselor explaining in a very simple form to me, because it's very simple for me. Thank God he's not using big words. In a very simple form, telling us the process over and over and over. And then we stay asking him to prove otherwise that Melvin Johnson must go to Liberia by all costs when he's taking his own time to inform us, we who are not lawyers but who have interest in the case. By public disclosure, I support Melvin and Ellen Corkrum. I support them. In my view, the government is playing politics and using it as pawn. And because of that, the truth will be prevailed. We brought Melvin last time. Today we get a lawyer. And over and over and over, Councilor Jayweh is telling us, even in America, that's the hard truth. The burden of proof is on the accuser. That's the law. Thank God it applies to Liberia, I guess, but it applies to American law. The burden of proof is on the accuser. Councilor Jayweh is not saying his clients are not waiting to go to Liberia, but serve them the writ of indictment. Let them have a hard copy say, yes, you've been served. And like you said, Kafumba, thank God for you for saying that. Let the government publish that it either serve the people at their living address in Liberia and it can show proof, then we move forward. But how you want Councilor Jayweh to explain this thing over and over? But let me add another point that some caller talk about why the people left the country. I will call this person name because this person was on another show, Liberia Public Radio with Alfonso Zion. His name is former Foreign Minister Yaya Nimle, the former warlord of Lord of Lord. He told us on the show because we're asking about the issue of the 19 Grand Gideon. What the evidence? He said, as far as concerned, there's no evidence. Then he also recounted his own experience. He said over and over the government of Liberia has gone even personally to his farm to plot to plan evidence, arms to implicate him. but the government can arrest him. So I asked him the question. And if he asked Brother Alfonso, so he has a recording, I guess. I said, but why didn't the government arrest you? Is it because you former rebel leader? He said, well, I don't know. But as I'm concerned, they have not shown any evidence. The point I'm making, and besides that, don't take my word, don't take Yaya nameless. What about the planned protest we had in Liberia? On the day when President Sedi was supposed to return, when she came for you and all of that. The government of Liberia arrested 11 of our boys before the day of the protest, imprisoning them. The day of the protest, arrested Mobile Mordi and others, imprisoning them for almost 2-3 days. The government freed them with the big charges, sedition. 3 days. The children went to court, no government prosecutor. So I'm only saying this because Kafumba, you asked the question, you said, I thought, witch hunting was things of the past. That's not true. These things are still happening. So those of you on the phone tonight, thank God for you. If you believe in the government, go to your government, tell the government to provide evidence. For us, we believe in Melvin, we believe in Ellen. They are innocent until proven guilty. And if they are proven guilty, then we will say, yes, they are guilty. But until then, the burden of proof is on your government. Let your government prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me close on this. Just recently, just today, I read a story from the police chief. What front page quoting that saying, I have no regret. So if you're wondering why they left the country, the way they left the country, even your police chief is still sticking by his story. He said he has no regret helping the people because of his conscience.
Yeah.
The conscience allowed him to do it. So when you're coming to know that people trying to harm Melvin away, if he can provide good security for our people, if we can provide orderliness, I can assure you our council will be gladly happy to take our clients or our people back to that country. Until then, your government must prove it. Thank you so much, Kafumba, for taking my call.
Wow. All right, so there's our public supporter. Well, Councillor Jayweh, do you care to add to that or take the next caller?
Well, I didn't take the next caller. He added,
okay.
As a lay person, he added very, very well what the law is all about.
Okay, and let me let Mr. Gonglo know that I'll come back to you. I see you've made an entry for follow-up question. I will get to you. Let's take some first-time callers first, and then we'll come to you, follow-up callers. 3844-3844, your name, where you calling from, and your question for Councillor Jayweh. 3844.
Yeah, this is Newton. I'm calling from Boston, Massachusetts.
Welcome, Newton.
Yeah, well, my question has to do with the councillor response earlier about indictment not being served. I was wondering, is there any difference between serving being indicted and indictment being served? I want to know if there is difference in that. The question is the fact that he, as councillor, and he said that he had a official copy of this indictment, but yet he continued to say indictment, the people have not been indicted. So that's the reason why I'm asking this question. And my next question is his representation of this Miss Ellen and the judge. Is he representing them in Liberia or he is representing them outside of Liberia? Because he said he lives here. Or is he going to Liberia to go represent them in court if they have to, or even in their absence, or he's just going to be here just as they are here? Because he says he's representing them.
Thank you, Mr. Nito. All right, Councillor.
Let me answer what kind of work we do. The Liberian Law Consultant is an exclusive general practice Liberian law office. We are stationed in the United States. We provide services to Liberians in the United States, Europe, and companies wanting to do business in Liberia. The question as to whether we will go to Liberia to represent Madam Corkrum and Judge Johnson if they should be taken to court. Yes, we represent them if we have to represent them. I also need to add that he said he wanted to know the difference of an indictment being found and the lawyer having copy of the indictment. I don't have copy of the indictment as a lawyer for Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson. I have copy of the indictment as a counselor of law of the Supreme Court. So I wanted a copy of the indictment. I wanted to see what the government has written. In fact, the indictment itself is so legally defective. I'm not even touched that. All I'm telling you right now is the procedural aspect of it. But when it comes to the merit of the indictment, that's something that we address. And I will wait if my client are served and arrested, then I will be able to discuss the merit of the indictment. The indictment as it is, as a lawyer, I can tell you that it's valid room. I will not tell you why it's valid room, because I want it to remain that way. Now, the thing is, when an indictment is drawn, people are named on indictment does not mean that those persons' names have been brought under the jurisdiction of the court. The indictment must be accompanied by a writ of arrest. Unlike a civil case where a writ of summons and a copy of the complaint can be mailed to the last known address of the defendants, in an indictment and a writ of arrest situation, it must be physically served. It can't be put in the mail. You can't go, say, you go into, what you call it, the post office in Manila and do register mail and mail it to the people last known address. No, it has not been served. If you do that, you have to find them physically. You have to serve them. But the question I have for our friends and our brothers who are making all of these contention is, what is stopping the government from serving the indictment and the writ of arrest on Melvin Johnson and Ellen Corkrum? That's their responsibility. What is stopping them? And the simple answer to that is that the government has no case. If it does have a case, it will have run fast enough and served Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson, have them arrested. The other thing I need to add is that maybe people are not following the case. The government of Liberia appear in criminal court C, where the case is pending, through the county attorney, and inform the court, including the judge and everybody in the court, that the indictment has been served on Ellen Corkrum and the writ of arrest has been served. You know how to prove that? Is that a report on a court file that says Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson have been arrested. There has to be a court officer report on the file. What did the judge do? The judge said, even though the county attorney said that Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson have been served and they are arrested, there is no record to that effect. Why would the government lie like this? Are those people serious? Why would a county attorney from Moscow County go to court and tell the court that something has been done legally? And that thing has not been done. He's lucky. If I were the sitting judge, I would hold him in contempt. He's in jail a long time. Because you don't come to the court and mislead the court. Why say that this thing has been done when you got no proof? The other thing, the judge asked the government of Liberia to produce proof to the county attorney that Melvin Johnson, the bank, and the rest of the people stole defrauded the Liberian government of $269,000. You know what the government lawyer said? He said, we're not on a duty to show proof. Who should show proof? The defendant that you charge? We got to stop joking.
Okay. All right. Let's take another caller. A good number of you just joined us. Let me welcome you to the Liberian Diaspora Forum weekly talk show. We have with us Councillor Jayweh. He's a lawyer for former Managing Director of Liberia Airport Authority, Madam Ellie Corkrum. And so, obviously, he's addressing a lot of legal issues here. And if you have any question, comment, or concern, please dial *61 on your phone, *61. We will get your questions over to the counselor. Let's take another caller, 6337, 6377. Your name, where you calling from, and your question for Councillor Jayweh.
Yeah, good evening, Moderator.
We can barely hear you.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, sir. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Amarakita, and I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Mr. Keita. Welcome to the show. Hello, Mr. Keita. You on? Go ahead. I think you're having a bad connection.
Well, let me say the counselor who has made
I don't know if the counselor is hearing you, but I'm not.
I can't understand anything from him.
Yeah, we're not hearing you. I think you need to relocate. Yeah.
So call back.
Okay, call back.
Maybe
Thank
you can
you.
call back.
Yeah, call back. So let's take the next caller then. 6929, 6929. Your name, where you calling from, and your question for Councillor Jayweh. 6929.
My name is Clarence Gono. I'm calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Clarence Gono from Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. I'm finding this case very interesting, and I'm finding it on the basis of the question of informed consent when researchers are doing the research to inform the learning public. Now, my question to the lawyer here is the question of ethical responsibility in researching. Now, what authority these two people accused have to record others? Because that question of informed consent when you do research is a tradition that you have to follow for you to investigate anything that will benefit the public. So what authority they have? Secondly, what is the implication of this case for the question of dual citizenship for Liberians?
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Jayweh?
Yeah, I really, my intention is not to address, because it's not an issue, not to address why Corkrum and Melvin Johnson may have recorded certain people in Liberia.
Well, Councillor, you've already alluded to that. You made reference to the tape in which the director was heard saying this. So the fact that you can use it to your benefit, I think you should also be able to address when other people make reference to it.
Oh yeah, I'm going further than that. I'm not stopping there.
Okay. All right.
I just say it's not a central issue that I'm addressing. What is central to me is why has Ellen Corkrum, and to the public, why have Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson now returned to Liberia? The merit of the tapes in question. If you follow Judge A. Blamo Dixon, he ordered that all recordings should be part of the court record. I don't know how he would do that. Should be part of the court on Wednesday. When those tapes get to court, the lawyer for Melvin Johnson and Ellen Corkrum will have to determine legally whether those are admissible documents in court. And they would then make the application. Ellen Corkrum and Johnson will testify to how they got those recordings. But let me go further to let you know that under the laws of Liberia, the recording of a person without their consent in private places will be considered illegal. Now, that's the general rule. The exception to that is that is the law that referred to that the criminal procedure law referred to as hot pursuit, where a crime is in a process to be committed. Recordings of those of the alleged crime or the purported crimes are not illegal. Ellen Corkrum, and again the tapes, I'd like to go back, the tapes, the recordings and whatnot have not been made an issue. In the indictment, the government did not refer to tapes, did not refer to anything that for which they form an indictment. So those are side issues that until they become issues that they are supposed to be admissible, meaning that they can be used as relevant material to prove the case of Ellen Corkrum. I would say to members of the public, you may need to wait, because at the end of the day, if we make an application for those tapes to be admitted into evidence and why they were recorded, the laws are there for the judge to admit them or to deny them. Now, do I believe, since I listened to almost all of the tapes, do I believe that the government, like doing other officials, were committing crime? I definitely believe that. Do I believe that in order to be able to prove that the crimes were being committed, the recording is proper? I believe that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's hear from 22.
Did I answer his? There were two questions he asked, right?
Yeah, there were two questions.
I think one had to do with the tape. I think I slipped the other one. I don't need to do that because I don't remember what it said.
Okay. Well, I was explicit testing information. Yeah,
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You just.
No, I think you're talking about issue of ethics in research. Let me, Mr. Gono will be referring to a normal scholarly research where a crime is being committed and people are recorded vis-a-vis the crime that's supposed to be committed. That's not a research work. That's attempting to have criminals, the process of hot pursuit, to have criminals arrested and detained. If the government of Liberia really had interest in this case, it would begin to investigate from the president's office down. There are people who said that in one instance, the president was heard on tape saying that, I don't think the process is proper. What was she talking about? She was talking about where there was some kind of company called NACO. There's a company almost stationed in the president's office that extracting money from the Liberian people called NACO. There's the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, the deputy, and I think Minister Papa, Dr. McKean. They knew about that. They were saying that go ahead. The person that was taken to Liberia by Ellen Corkrum. Mind you, in order to understand this case, you need to go to the contract under which Ellen Corkrum was hired. It lays out that she has a right to employ people that she wanted to employ in consultation with the board. So there's nothing wrong with what she did. If you record that people who thought that she was violating the law, why didn't they make that as part of the indictment? Because it's a separate crime. If you think somebody recorded you without your consent, it's a separate crime. Why did the government not go after them?
Okay. The last caller whose question, Councillor Jayweh is answering right now, I hope your questions were answered. If not, like everyone else, you are more than welcome to dial *61 again with a follow-up question or a little more clarity on your question, just in case you felt that the questions were not answered. Okay. So I just saw you just came back, so I'll get to you here, but let's take this a new caller. I almost took him before, but we'll get to you here. 2258, 2258. Please state your name, where you're calling from, and your question for Councillor Jayweh. 2258.
Okay. My name is Alio Donzo, calling from Pennsylvania.
Okay. Welcome, Mr. Donzo.
Okay, I wanted to find out from the councillor what happened to the lawsuit that was filed against the Liberian government by a client. The two lawsuits. What's the status of it?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Donzo. So
we have. Mr. Donzo, how are you? We have.
I've closed this line already.
Oh, okay. We have two cases pending in the civil law court. We're talking about two separate courts. So I want our people again to understand that Liberia has two systems, the civil justice system and the criminal justice system. In the civil justice system, we have two lawsuits. One is action of damages for defamation of character. Throughout the last term of the civil law court, we tried to assign those cases. The judge were very, very busy. In fact, at some point, I called from the United States. We got lawyers on the ground that are working with us. I called from the United States, and I spoke directly with the judge. We were able to get an assignment. But unfortunately, the case that were assigned, the judge forgot that he had a case before the Supreme Court and left the court and went to the Supreme Court to answer to the Supreme Court, is the higher court of the land. The judge was summoned to go to the court. When he came back, he did not see the lawyer for the Liberian Airport Authority in. We have series of documents before the civil law court. One is the action of damages for defamation of character. Two is the action of damages for breach of contract. We have a motion to strike. We have a motion to consolidate. All of these are technical things. The motion to strike meaning that the government of Liberia filed the answer late. They should have filed within 10 days' time. They did not, so we filed a motion to strike because if you don't file in 10 days' time, you're just out of court. We also filed a motion to consolidate the defamation of character and the action of damages for breach of employment contract. The judge was supposed to hear the case, but he ran out of time. As I'm talking to you, the civil law court, we are now in December. The civil law court is in its December term, court open today. We are going to pursue the trial. So the two cases there are two different cases. There are two civil cases. Our civil case is asking for $25 million for defamation of character, And the other part of the civil case is asking for $130,000 for failure to pay our client for the time that the government contracted to pay. The two cases are not the same. The responsibility to get those cases to go forward is on us as the plaintiff. The responsibility to get the criminal case to go forward is on the government of Liberia as a principal plaintiff. So there are two different cases. They're not in the same court. One is in criminal court C, one is in civil law court.
Okay. Folks, by this time yesterday, we had a very special program on here during our regular programming hours. We were here, a group of Liberian writers and journalists were on here paying special tribute to a fallen Liberian writer in person of Musu Haddad, and the program went very well. Actually, beyond my expectation, we have at least up to 313 people who called in. We are not quite there yet today. There are 191 of us here right now. That's probably due to this being a special edition, and it's also the first day of the week, Monday. But I think more people will come, 191. If you ask me, that's still a lot. The recordings for Judge Melvin Johnson, as I said earlier, is uploaded on YouTube. If you wish to listen to that, just go to YouTube and type in Liberian Diaspora Forum. The audio will be there. Or you can also find Liberian Diaspora Forum Facebook page. The audio is also there, just as this one will be in the next couple of days here. I want to thank you for being here. So let's keep the show rolling. Let's take, 6929. I know I told you to come back for, to clarify your question. Thank you for coming by. I will get to you just as I will get to Mr. Gonglo here. But let's take some new callers, and I promise you I'll come to you, follow-up caller. So, Judge Toto, just hang in there. I'll get back to you. I'll get to all of you here. Let's keep the new callers coming. 1573-5073. Your name, where you calling from, and your question for Councillor Jayweh. 1573. Hello?
My name is Angelique. Hello?
Yeah. Angelique Cooper, yeah. Welcome to the show.
Yes.
Where are you calling from?
Thank you. Chamberlain, Minnesota.
Welcome to the show. Your question, comment, or concern?
I'm curious. A question for the counselor. He has been stating constantly on the phone, alleged, in reference to Mr. Corkrum, in reference to his clients. But he's very he's very quick to be so certain with the allegations that the president of Liberia ordered a hit on his clients, and that's why her defense minister and police chief got them out of the country. This is all alleged. Do you have any facts of this? It has also been reported that these tapes that his clients have played constantly was also edited to show basically should work in their favor. Now, in reference to the tapes, I'm a bit puzzled as to why these tapes. I mean, it's why Ellen and Melvin found the need to let show, because for me it seems more like, okay, we're not the only corrupt people in Liberia. We're not the only one that stole too. Other people stole too, or other people committing crimes. So what is the essence of all these tapes? Because I've been listening to it to see if these tapes would clarify or sort of clear their names. But these tapes have not cleared Ellen or Melvin's name in any way, as far as I've listened. This is all is their tapes again that also has been clearly stated that these tapes was also edited by Ellen and her her fiance Melvin. So why is Mr. the lawyer I'm sorry, I can't remember. Councillor Jayweh is stating that the law the president of Liberia ordered a hit. That's very premature. You have no proof. And you keep saying that you're going to come from the president's office down. Do you have any proof? Were you in any meetings to hear President Johnson order a hit on these people, or is it hearsay? And you keep saying Defense Minister Samukai and Chief of Police Massaquoi stated that this is something that they did. When these tapes, again, were edited. So let's not just assume things are happening based on recordings that again were done illegally and would not that should not even be admissible in court.
Okay. Thank you.
What a question? What a question? What is the proof?
You just comment, right? You don't have questions or support.
Right? It was a comment, and also, what proof do you have that the president of Liberia ordered a hit on these people?
Oh, okay.
It's all hearsay.
Yeah, actually, that was a question I had asked earlier too, because no one has heard the president on any tape. It's all alleged. It's alleged. Massacre is heard on tape. Allegedly saying that the president said this. Yeah, go ahead, Councillor.
Is that Cecilia Cooper?
No, it's Angeline.
Okay, Angeline Cooper. You know, you're asking for proof. That's interesting. First, let me go to the Defense Minister Barney Samaka has come out and admitted that every word that was said on the first tape play on him, consistent with the inconsistency of the government, were all true. And so he apologized. What more proof are we looking for from Barney Samaka? None. For me, as a lawyer, I don't need any more proof from him. That's enough for Barney Samaka. The second person that is interesting, and Barney Samaka is a key security officer. He's not assistant minister. He's a minister proper. He's a minister who controls the national defense of Liberia. He admits, he accepts responsibility, he apologizes to the Liberian people and say that everything else I said on the tape, he was the one. And he said those things. The next thing is that the director of police, Chris Masakwe recently just told the Liberian people that he has no regret. The issue was raised as to his involvement in getting Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson out of Liberia. Chris Masakwe had just said that he has no regret. The issue on the tape of Chris Masakwe saying in security meeting, there are more than 2 persons involved. 3 persons rather. You got Chris Masakwe, you got Abla Gidebeku, you have Barney Samaka. When those people speak, when Chris Masakwe speaks as a director of police, he's speaking for the president. He's a chief security arm for the president. He said that he was in meeting, and during the meeting, they were told to capture Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson. Don't allow them to leave the country. Councillor Jayweh was not testifying, so this is not an allegation. I'm not assuming. I am saying what Chris Masakwe has said. He said he doesn't have a regret. In fact, he added by saying, up to this point, in spite of the tapes and things that are now being played, the president enjoys his appointment. The president still has confidence in him. When the chief of police says that the president says we should capture you people, what other proof am I looking for? I don't need to be in the meeting at all.
Councillor Jayweh, though, don't you find it contradicting for, and I don't mean you are contradicting, but for Masakwe to have alleged that there was a meeting here in which, these people arrest, was ordered, and then turn around, be the C1 to assist them to leave through. Could there be some sort of conspiracy of he being like some other people who allegedly did not want them, are just wanting to run them out of the country? I mean, the press, it hasn't been proved yet. Of course, it's on tape, but no one has been able to provide any proof yet, to say that, President Ellen Johnson, that in fact there was a meeting, and President Ellen Johnson Salif said what she's quoted, to have said. Don't you trust Masakwe?
In law, a failure to deny an allegation where pleaded against you is considered as an admission. That's what the Liberian law says. Chris Masakwe is the chief of security. He was accused more than 2 weeks ago, and the tapes were played. In fact, front page outlined the questions that went through word for word. If you look at front page, you look at the publication with the tape right in there, you compare the question that were asking. Johnson and Corkrum deliberately, skillfully led the police director to answer to those questions of what he thought was happening. In fact, he went and said, It is a president who said that. In fact, he picked up his phone and called Abla Gelebeku, chief of immigration. Look, it's a sad thing that Chris Masakwe and Brandon Samuka they are part of this process. But there will be no way to tell the Liberian people that Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson were their lives were at stake if they have not mentioned these people who told them. You and I would be saying, oh, that's yes. Oh, they were not in meeting with the president. How do they know? You don't need to be in meeting with the president because the principal representative of the president will be the defense minister, and next will be the police director. It's not an allegation. It is a fact that the two ministers said, the director and the minister said, that the lives of Ellen Corkrum and those persons were at stake. What did Chris Masakwa do? As a human being, he disagreed with the president. So he provided, it's not a contradiction, he provided his vehicle to get the people out of the country. I would have done that if I police director because I do not want innocent lives to be lost. Who knows what was going to happen to them? And I think the reason why they wanted to arrest them or maybe do whatever thing they wanted to do to them, because at some point the president may have learned that Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson have 300 documentation of emails and tips on the government that were detrimental. So if the director of police disagree with that, as a human being, he assisted those people, and we must thank him for it. If I'm sorry that they are involved, I'm sorry that they are mentioned, but if Brandon Samuka was told, and Brandon Samuka came out and said these things and assisted Ellen Corkrum and others to leave, if they had not left, you and myself would be talking something different today. Maybe we'll be talking about the Planzaminton situation. I don't know how old were you when the Planzaminton situation happened in Liberia. Nobody can tell what happened in the Planzaminton situation.
Okay. Just so you know, for the public, and I'm speaking to our listening audience here, obviously between George Melvin Johnson appearance and what we have tonight, the name Mustability has come up a lot, and I did make contact with Mr. Ability. He's more than happy to come back on the show. I said come back because he was just on their show, I believe, sometime last month or so, but I must admit his appearance then was entirely dominated by his position as LFA chairman and not this ongoing case. So, but I did get a hold of him and asked if he will come back for the second time and address some of these issues. And he said he's more than happy, he'll be more than happy to come. I've also got people who are talking to, who made contact already with Brother Samuka and Masakwe. I'm told that there's no way hell Masakwe is going to appear. It doesn't sound like it. But it's possible that we could have Brother Samuka on the show sometimes next month. There's no guarantee. There are people helping me, and that's the information I've gathered from them. So we'll see if we can bring all the parties together here, and put the pieces together. Councillor Jayweh, before I take the next caller, let me ask you this quickly here. I know it is a common practice of all lawyers to prevent their clients from talking to the media. Are you stopping Ms. Ellen Corkrum from coming on the Liberian Diaspora Forum? If not, is there anything you can do? Can you help us to have her, come on the show and talk to the audience here?
Well, Ellen Corkrum has only a civil case as far as we know legally before the Civil Law Court, and there are two cases before the Civil Law Court. Ellen Corkrum, until they are served with an indictment and a copy of the writ of arrest and arrested, I don't know of any document that is against them. I have not spoken to her to say that she cannot get on any show, and it's not my advice to say she should do that. I can also add that if it comes to the legal issues in those cases, if she wants me to be present with her on to answer to some of them, I can do so. But I don't know whether or not she is.
Okay, yeah. I want to ask you in this public manner to, please add your voice to the many requests that we've made, so that after George Melvin Johnson and after you, her lawyer, maybe it's about time that we hear her beautiful voice on this show. So we will be making a follow-up, with you on that issue. Then the other thing is that
let me just
are you representing just Madam Ms. Corkrum or both of them, both Corkrum and
okay. Up to now, the responsibility with me. I should have sent a letter retainer to Johnson and Ms. Corkrum, but fully legally we have a document on our file for representing Ellen Corkrum in a civil case. We have discussed the criminal case, even though they are not being served, and I decided I will send them a letter of retainer for them to sign. Once it's signed, officially we are representing them. Officially we don't have a document signed, but we will have that signed pretty soon. I should type the letter and send it to them. But as it is, they don't really have a criminal case until they are brought under the jurisdiction of the court.
So when that document is signed, you'll be representing them both, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Up to now, we're representing both of them, but until we can have the document signed, it's basically to have us to do other things that we want to do.
Okay. Let's take our next caller here, 807 area code 7743. 7743. That's the 807 area code. I have no idea which state is that. Could you please tell us your name, where you're calling from, and your question for Councillor Jayweh? 8843.
Yes, Kafumba. My name is Emmanuel Kwame. And I'm the brother of Ellen Corkrum. Okay?
Oh, you are the brother of Ellen Corkrum. Where are you calling from, sir?
I'm calling from Canada.
Okay, Canada. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Councillor Jayweh, I'd just like to thank you for taking the time to represent my sister and also being on the show to answer questions and basically explain things to those who are listening. What I have to say is I don't know if most of your listeners are aware of what's known as the Vienna Convention. In view of the fact that my sister is a U.S. citizen, there's only one reason why she was not arrested as opposed to the order being given to have them held hostage in Liberia and, to quote Chris Massacre, actions taken against you guys. Because according to the Vienna Convention, if she and Melvin had been arrested, they would have had to inform the U.S. Embassy. Once they inform the U.S. Embassy would have to provide them with a lawyer. Now, once that lawyer got into play, what would have happened would have been all the documents would have been released internationally. It would have been a huge thing to have a U.S. Army major arrested in Liberia. And so, in order to avoid that coming out, I personally believe that is why this clandestine activity was ordered to have them captured. I was up all night, right, monitoring everything until she landed, okay? No one has any idea what all these allegations has done to my family. No one knows, right? My sister did not have to go to Liberia. My sister had a very good life here. No one knows the sacrifices that she made. No one knows that she left her 2 kids here and went to Liberia. No one knows how she fought with people day in, day out. And she did it out of the law for her country, a country that she left when she was 13 years old. But she still had the presence of mind to go back, right? No one knows.
For $19,000 a month, though. Don't forget that part.
Listen, that's peanuts compared to the job offer she had here, right? That's peanuts compared to the job offer she had here. You can access her file because it's public records. She was making more, and she gave that up.
That's not correct. That's not correct.
No,
I have done that. No, I have looked up a record. Public record. She said she wasn't making $13,000 a month. That's not correct. I just want for the record. For the record, yeah.
Listen to me, right?
Yeah.
She had an offer that trumped what she had in Liberia. Okay. For over a year, she was actively sought out by the president. Direct contact. The president contacted her to come. right? She didn't go begging for a job. She was asked to come, right? She was asked to come, okay? So she goes there. And let's face it, if someone commits a crime, arrest them. Don't hold a secret meeting. Don't give orders for things to be done under the cover of darkness. Arrest them, allow the lawyer from the U.S. Embassy to come. They would have brought all the files, all the documents, everything, and that's what they were afraid of, right? Now, everybody wants to bash Chris Massacre, Brownie Hamakai, Melvin Johnson, and my sister. Go ahead. Feel free. But if you were in that situation, right, and Chris Massacre looks at you and tells you what every single word you heard on the tape, imagine it was you or your mom or your sister there, and Chris Massacre is telling them, would you tell them to stay or you tell them run so that you would have the voice to defend yourself, right? No one knows, right, that he felt so bad about all the plans that she had to develop the airport, right? All her contacts that she had called on, right, to get things better for Liberia. No one has any idea about that, right? But you go on the internet, people say all sorts of nasty things and stuff about her. They don't know her. She doesn't even know that I'm calling right now. I listened to your last program with what's his name on Judge Johnson. Yeah. Yes, right. I choose not to comment, right? But time and time again, the lawyer is explaining to them that there is what is called due process. The government has to follow due process. Now, I want to ask you a question. If you are intent on sabotaging your own case, right, because you have all the top legal minds supposedly in the country in the Ministry of Justice, why can't they do a simple thing? Right, a simple thing as serving the
due process.
Yes, that's all. Right. That's all. Right? Why can't they do that? Everybody is saying, oh, why didn't she release the tapes then and then? Look, there are countless tapes. There's countless evidence. When you're in the heat of an investigation, you collect the evidence. You don't release it prematurely, or else you don't get anything, right? But it
seems as though these recordings and document collection were already in gear. They were ongoing before the whole saga began.
Exactly.
Right. So
Exactly. Go back to the recording with McLean and the other recording with the president. Right.
Okay.
Right. You can clearly see the chronological order that she's going towards and saying, listen, this does not make sense. I need some guidance from you, which puts the onus on the president to say yay or nay. If they tell her go ahead, she was employed directly by the president. Okay? So now, at the end of the day, she's here. And she's duty-bound that if she has the slightest hint of any judiciary impropriety, she has to investigate it and she has to document it. And that's what she was doing. And they found out. And so that's why they did not arrest her, because she was there. She called a press conference also to say that she had not been fired. If she had stolen the money, like they say, just walk up there, serve the writ of arrest, put her in cuffs.
Okay, we've got to leave it there. We've got to leave it. We've got too many people waiting here for follow-up questions. So,
right,
but you're more than welcome to come back. Just that *61 again if you want to add up. Yeah, we appreciate your contribution. And speaking of tarnishing people's reputation, let me quickly state too that I got a very disturbing phone calls. I got two of the same calls the day I hosted Judge Melvin Johnson. And today, I got another one. This time for someone that I hold dear. The accusation was that I was paid off by Judge Melvin Johnson to have hosted the show the way I did when the judge appeared here, I think it was sometime last week. For the record, I have never met Judge Melvin Johnson in person. I've never met Sister Ellie Corkrum in person. And I certainly have not received a dime from any of them, nobody. As far as I know, I'm still working my two jobs here, full-time job and a part-time job. And so, no, the information is absolutely baseless. I've not received a dime from anybody. When I do, I'll be happy to let you know, all right? So, no, I've not been bought, not yet. Let's take one more original, a new caller, and then I'll start, I'll come to a whole lot of follow-up callers that I line up here. Victoria Baima, I hope I'm saying that right. I'll let you say 3991, 9391 rather, 9391. Would you please tell us your name, where you're calling from, and your question for Councillor Jayweh? 9391. Hello?
Kafumba, I just want to say thank you for having a forum. Some of the information we get from the LIBERIAN, from other sources, we are getting to know the real thing, and this is what I just want to say. Thank you.
Okay. What's your, could you please go over the name and tell us where you're calling from?
This is Uncle Joe from Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, Uncle Joe from Georgia. All right. Thank you for your commendation. Go ahead, sir. Hello?
Yeah.
Uncle Joe, that's it? Or you just... That was it?
I appreciate your, call where we will be able to get a whole file from by home. That's all.
That's setting the file. All right. Hey, I'm honored. Thank you. To just call for that, I'm truly honored. Thank you. We'll keep doing our best, and bring all the parties involved, especially those that are willing to come. So now let's take some follow-up callers here to see, and I'll begin with. Let's take 6929 since this question was in, Unashe was clear, and then after that we'll go to Mr. Gonglo here. 6929, welcome back to the show. Your follow-up question, comment, or concern.
Once again, this is Sarah Gonglo. Already, I did not like the way the counselor answered my question because I did not ask the counselor the question you answered. I asked the counselor what authority did those two people have to recall orders. Not about ethical questions or informed.
The authority,
Okay, what authority do they have? And the second question was, he being a counselor, what is the implication of this case relative to the question of dual citizenship as being part of Liberian? What is the implication of this case relative to the case of dual citizenship as being part of Liberian as a counselor? What I asked.
Thank you. Yep. No, sorry. It's not. Hold on, Councilor. It's not done. Are you done?
I'm fine.
Okay. Thank you. So the question is, Councilor Jayweh, what authority did Ms. Corkrum and Melvin Johnson, have to recall orders, and then what impact, consequences you think their action will have on the, how to achieve dual citizenship argument?
I don't know what I have interest in dual citizenship to discuss. I will answer bluntly that the action of Melvin Johnson and Corkrum were done as patriotic citizens of Liberia. If they felt that crime was being committed, again, if you go back to Emmanuel Kwame, who tried to tell us the historicity surrounding the recording, it didn't start with Ellen Corkrum being fired. It started from the day, I assume, from the day she thought that Liberia was being taken for a ride by the Ellen Johnson government. In their view, they felt that crime was being committed. I think if the government of Liberia wanted to do anything correctly, there is a law to ensure that those persons who are named on the tape are investigated. Why they recorded them? Because they were committing crimes. All the people who were committing crimes decided where they were recorded. And today you now know that after the riot in the yard of after the shooting at the headquarters of CDC, the former director of police was paid $150,000 to accept the responsibility when somebody higher than him may have ordered the shooting to have gone on. Again, that's a crime to order the shooting of people who are in regular demonstration that is provided by the constitutional right to assemble. That's a crime.
Councilor Jayweh, you still have not answered one of his questions. The question you said why they recorded them because of committing crime, but his question was not why. The question is, did they have authority to record them? It's not why. The question is, what gives them the authority to record them?
Any Liberian citizen has what they refer to as a civil authority and civil right to be able to ensure. In fact, you and myself, whether we are police or not, we are referred to as civil officers. We can arrest a criminal when even the police is not around. In the case of it's a right that you have to take people into custody. In fact, you can arrest a criminal, sit on him until the police car can come and release that person. If you got sufficient strength to do that, the police you can't brutalize them, but you can make sure that they are under civil restraint until they are taken into official restraint. In the case of Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson from day one, I assume they thought that many of the things that were being done by the Liberian government was criminal, so they decided to tip them. And I say again, in the case of hot pursuit, where a crime is being committed before your face, you don't need to go look for a writ of arrest or you need to go look for official. That crime must be stopped there. As a citizen, you can assist to stop there. And mind you, these are not just people coming from America. These are people who came out of who were in Liberia. Ellen came here when she was 13 years. So I don't know when Johnson came here, but I know all of them have. If you talk to the people in the Liberian language, those people talk to you like a real Liberian. So they have the country at heart to be able to see that this kind of crime going on that should be curtailed. I mean, you're asking for what authority they have. The Liberian law gave them the right to do that. When a crime is committed, and in Liberia, the thing where you have the right to report, you have the right to recall.
Yeah, well,
and the other thing, whether it has anything to do with dual citizenship, again, one of Liberia, former official wrote and said, "Oh, dual citizenship." In fact, New Democrat newspaper wrote and said, "Dual citizenship is in trouble because Ellen Corkrum and the rest of them stole government money and ran away from here." The thing I like to ask the Liberian newspaper and some of the press in Liberia is, how many of you know how many dual citizens in Liberia working for Ellen Johnson's early government? Starting from Melvin, not Melvin, starting from Robert Salif, who documentation was public. Robert Salif was up to the top of being chairman of the board of director for NACO, Liberia National Oil Company. How many? The current public minister is a U.S. citizen. The current chairman of the board of director of the Liberian telecommunication system, the 2 weeks, they are U.S. citizens. The question is not whether U.S. citizen working for the Liberian government is a bad thing. That's not what the question is. The question is are those people who the government took from here, how did the government vet them? And how many of them in government, that I could name almost 16 ministries that people in. Your current chairman of the election commission is a U.S. citizen, and he is the chairman of the election commission. While people making noise about U.S. citizen and dual citizenship, the Liberian government said Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson committed crime, prove it. It's not a U.S. citizen issue.
Are you just alleging that these people are U.S. citizens, or you know for fact?
I will go by the Robert Salif were published by what his name is.
I remember that. Yeah,
know that he is a U.S. citizen. He passed a report on. The colleague I'm talking about, who is currently the chairman of the election commission, I knew when he won his DV. I knew when he became citizen.
Okay.
And now, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not against people who are citizens going to Liberia and working. What I'm against is that when those people commit crime, the responsibility is on the government to prove it. Don't allege a crime and sit down. The responsibility to prosecute those people and prove them guilty is on the government, not on them. It got nothing to do with dual citizenship. The newspaper may be misunderstanding what it is. Again, what it is that when somebody is alleged to commit a crime, whose responsibility it is to go after them and bring them to trial? It's the government of Liberia, not the people who are accused. Because that's as clear as that.
Yeah, that is clear. Yeah, it is the proof of the burden of proof is.
It rests on the government.
Yeah. So let's take Mr. Gonglo. I said I was taking you next, and I'm committed to that. But I think here's what I'll take one new caller, and then I'll come and take you as a follow-up caller, and then we'll go in that order here. Then we can spend our remaining time together. Please bear with me. Don't lose patience. Hang in there. 1967, 1967. Your name, where you calling from, your question for Councillor Jayweh. 1967.
Hello, this is Ezekiel Glay from Atlanta, Georgia.
Welcome, Mr.
Are you getting me?
To the show. Yeah, we're getting you. You're on. Welcome to the show.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to, first of all, I want to thank you for the forum, for making it available to all of us who are on tonight. But I want to say that, there's a saying that you don't give your child to the devil.
Okay.
And then concern yourself about where the child's bone should be broken or not, which is to say that Ms. Corkrum and Melvin Johnson cannot come out to the public trying to make their case or to win public support, and then wanting to choose what questions should be asked or what side should be taken in the case, which is to say that there was a gentleman who came, I think, before 2 or 3 people and said that they are asking all kinds of questions, and if your father, your mother, your brother or sisters or someone was in this situation, would you have wanted the person to have gone to Liberia? These are simple questions that people are asking to get solution or answer to, because those that have been accused have chosen to come on this public forum so that we can hear their side of the story. And as we hear the side of the story, all those who have been asking questions, they probably are not convinced, given what answers they have received. So I think it's only right, that any question that is asked, you should take time to answer the questions to the best of their ability to see if those people buy your story. And another follow-up is that we often sit back about the lawyer, the gentleman on the phone. He is saying that the burden of proof, that the government of Liberia should not have gone to the press to make a case with respect to the indictment and so forth. Instead, it should have gone to it should have arrested the people before coming public. Well, no one is questioning that. I think what most people are saying that I want to contribute to is that given that Mr. Johnson and Ms. Corkrum are citizens of the United States, and from the first instance, their argument was, if we were in Liberia, we would have been killed or XYZ, or we wouldn't have a fair trial. I just want to suggest or add that this is the best opportunity for them to go back to the ground and make their case, because this is international news now that I think they have the best opportunity to go and prove their case.
Okay. Let me quickly state for the record though. I have not. I don't know for sure. All of these, are alleged, because the last time when Judge Melvin Johnson appeared on this show, a caller asked whether he was a U.S. citizen. He said he wasn't here to talk about that. Miss Ellen Corkrum has not been on this show to speak to her nationality either. So for now, the only evidence, the only reason we have to assume that any of them, is a U.S. citizen, is based on what Ms. Corkrum's brother, who just called from Canada, who stated that he believed one of the reasons why they were not arrested is because they are U.S. citizens. Because if they were to be arrested, they will have to, contact the embassy. So up to today's date, just for the record, the only, so we don't know.
Yes, sir.
This
is not an allegation. These people are citizens of the United States by virtue of their professions.
Okay.
That we are aware of. Anybody who is a commissioned officer of the United States or military services or armed forces is commissioned by the President of the United States. You have to be a citizen. Second, if you are a judge in any court in the United States, you have to be a citizen of the United States. So we are not, guessing or trying to make allegations.
That's a good analogy. I like that.
Right. These are facts. All that I am trying to say is that this case they have said that they went to the State Department and they went to the Capitol in D.C. to make their case or to give the evidence, to those who they thought needed to find that. So this is not anything that is on the side anymore. But the last point I want to make too is that I think the lawyer also once said earlier that it was the lawyer. He just said that Mr. Johnson and Ms. Corkrum, they are patriotic Liberians or they are good people. That they wanted to do what is right, for the country, and I have no doubt to question that. But the only point I want to find out here is that Ms. Corkrum said that she took the money that it has been alleged $250,000.
$169,000.
Yeah, no, I have listened to that, on one of the calls. Okay. And then my question is, if you are a good citizen and you wanted to make a point or a case, where is the money that was taken? Where did you carry this money? Because if she has given this money back to the people or told people that this amount, I have kept it here to make sure that this was the only way I could have gotten the evidence that I have in my hands. Then I think we'll all be on her side. But that's so. I mean, thank you very much.
Can I make a quick clarification?
Yeah, go ahead, Councilor. Yeah, he's done. So
I'm surprised where Mr. Cllr got the information that Ellen said she took $269,000. If Ellen has said that, then there is no reason for indictment. Simple, clear and simple. It means that the government librarian will be asking Ellen to pay the money back, and there's no issue for indictment. It means by now, Councilor Jayweh will be writing a settlement agreement with the government librarian between the government librarian and Ellen Corkrum. Ellen Corkrum had never said. And I don't know, these are the kind of dangerous information that people can put out. I don't know at what point, on which show, Ellen Corkrum ever told anybody that she took from the government librarian $269,000 and she's keeping it somewhere. His statement that she should give the money or she's keeping it somewhere, I don't know where he learned that. Maybe he dreamed of that, but there's no way that Ellen Corkrum has ever said that, and there would be no way the government librarian would draw an indictment if Ellen Corkrum had told the public that I took the government in order to prove my case. I took $200. Why you need $269,000 to prove what case? They recorded all the people they wanted to record without $269,000. That's erroneous. It's completely erroneous. Nobody ever said that. It was never said on this show. It had never been said on any show.
Right.
So Ellie had never said that.
And also, let me state, though, prior to Judge Melvin Johnson's appearance on this show, I was privileged to have gone through some documents that they received, especially documents relating to that $269,000 allegedly that was illegally transferred. Some of the documentation that I have in my possession proved that the money that was actually transferred was a sum of $144,000, and as opposed to $269,000. Yes, there were attempts made to transfer $125,000 I believe it was on the 10th of December 2012. But that first order of transfer did not go through. And then there was a second transfer order submitted to LBDI December 13th of 2012, and that one went through. And then after that, $19,000 was also transferred. I believe that was December 18th of the same year, 2012, summing up to $144,000 as opposed to $269,000. So when the question was asked of Judge Melvin Johnson the other day as to where is the money, again, the audio is on YouTube. You can listen to it for yourself. I believe he said that the money was transferred into what he described as a trust account, which belonged to him. He did not deny that. And when $144,000 was transferred there, the money was disbursed to the people that it was for whom it was transferred, including the Diaspora Consulting Firm and the rest of it. So I'm not looking at any paper. I'm just trying to just make reference from some of the things I remember from George Melvin Johnson the other day.
Let me just say I have a letter which is part of the civil case that was written by, when this thing happened initially when Ellington left and it came, Liberia Airport Authority through the government of Liberia hired Councillor T.C. Gould and Fonanti Kofa, J. Fonanti Kofa, to represent the Liberian Airport Authority and try to retrieve whatever money they thought that Ellen Corkrum took. There's a difference in money that was used to pay people for legitimate jobs done for the Liberian Airport Authority, and there is a difference in money that the government claimed was illegally taken. Councillor Fonanti Kofa wrote a letter to Ellen Corkrum, which a copy is on our file, which we use against them, and said that we have done the check of all the books of the Liberian Airport Authority. And from our investigation, we found out that you are short $63,000. That was a letter written on the International Law Group. Councillor Fonanti Kofa worked for the International Law Group. I think he's a senior partner. At the time, we were not officially legal counsel for Ellen, but we were talking. So a copy of that letter was sent to us, and when we filed our action on damages for defamation of character, we attached a copy of that letter to say the government is lying. How can you say at one point that Ellen took away about $1 million? And then the lawyer that you hire, well, this is not just an ordinary person. This is a professional person, a lawyer whose responsibility it is to investigate the facts and the law. Writes a person who you are charging with $269,000, writes and say that we presume, or from our inspection of the books of the Liberian Airport Authority, $63,000 was missing. So can you, in fact, he demanded in 10 days' time the Ellen Corkrum restitute the $63,000. So the money comes from now from $1 million to $63,000 to now $269,000 to $144,000 you're talking about. Actually, a Diaspora Consulting was a company that worked for the Liberian government. Diaspora Consulting was paid by Ellen Corkrum based upon her position as the managing director for Liberian Airport Authority. That's not a dispute.
What is in dispute, though? I think the government alleges also that she transferred even the conservative amount of $144,000 that was transferred without the appropriate authorization. But again, that's the government. The government alleges that. But again, I'm pleased to say that the records that I received, some paperwork I saw, email exchanges between various parties involved also proved that she did have authorization to do the transfer. I just wanted to add that part. Yeah.
Of course. What I wanted to also add is that what President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did, which is interesting and which is important, is that being an educated person, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, I assume, have been, apart from the interim president that we ever had, have been one of the educated presidents that Liberia had ever had. So what she did, which is something that Liberia must admire, was that she went to Liberia and tried to pool the resources together to succinctly be able to manage the country in an effective way, even though it's been mismanaged right now. But what she did was to create, instead of having the Liberia the airport, Springfield as an airport all by itself. They want in Kafumba as an airport all by itself. They want in Sano as an airport all by itself. I think Bagleyville as an airport all by itself. She put all of them under a private corporation called the Liberian Airport Authority. I have copy of the act in my possession. I thought that was brilliant. But what is the problem is after that was done, when Ellen Corkrum began to the problem actually started with when Ellen Corkrum decided to repair the wrong way of the Raw International Airport. You must know that a Guinean, you know how many persons, I think were 23 or 27 Guinean authorities that are going to celebrate the Liberian Armed Forces Day in 2012. The plane crashed in Mr. Airport and crashed and everybody died.
Right.
In spite of that, also a plane that was owned by France was also wrecked, and the Liberian government had to pay back the money because the airport is so racket, the bombs since the war had not been fixed. So the authority was given. The president herself in that meeting gave authority to the managing director, Ellen Corkrum, make sure that the safety of that airport is honored. I think that was something honorable that the president did. But because people play politics so much, when they brought in Liberian diaspora consultant did a piece of work. If you listen to Julie Bryant, Julie Moe, and Minister McKean, they said to Ellen Corkrum, pay diaspora consulting company for the work they did. Those people did not go to fix the airport. They went to to test the soil and see whether the soil was viable enough to rebuild so that engineering wise, the airport could be the runway could be rebuilt to modern standard. They went up and down in our country, up and down. The government was involved. This will not be disclosed on the during trial. We have emails that were exchanged between diaspora consulting company and government officials, authorizing them to go ahead and do the work. It's the same money the government is claiming. It's part of that same money the government is claiming in the $269,000.
Okay. All right. Please, Councilor, let's take some of these follow-up callers. So it's been a great show. You've been on for long, so we can, hurry up and get you out of here for you to get to more important business here. And by the way, the documents that I'm talking about, I still have the copies, and I also have the permission of Judge Marvin Johnson to distribute it to anybody who wants it. So we announced on that show, and we'll announce again. If you'd like to get copies of some of those documents, all you have to do is to email the word document to LiberianDiasporaForum@yahoo.com. And when I have time, I will forward the documents to your email address. And if you need more, we can certainly arrange that according to Judge Johnson. So let's hear from Gonglo. Mr. Gonglo, thanks for being patient. It's been a long time since you've been in the queue here, but it's better late than never, we say in Liberia. So welcome back to the show. Your follow-up question.
Thank you, Kafumba. First, let me just make an observation. The observation has to do with yourself. I would like you to be fair and equitable in the distribution of time allotted to speakers.
Okay.
I want to note particular instance of fugitive Ellen Corkrum, brother who came on air and
Canada? Yeah.
Yes, who had unnecessary uncontrolled airtime, and we kept listening to his rant. So okay. I want to just put you on notice on that. So those who are passionate about this issue, I hope you don't cut us up prematurely. There are few. I've listened to the show.
You've been on the show many times. I don't cut people off. I do my best. So your point is well noted. All right. Yeah.
It was just a little caveat. But I listened to the show. It's quite interesting. I must thank you. I hope you continue. But because I've listened so long, I have few observations that I want to make. Things that I pick up from Councilor Jayweh.
Okay.
Now, the first has to do with the impression created by the learned councillor that Ellen Corkrum life was in danger. And we are all Liberians, and we should not pretend on this. Okay. I'm not of any illusion that there are different information that we've gathered also. That one of the persons that that encouraged Ellen Corkrum, that had contact with Ellen Corkrum, and encouraged her to return to get a job with the Liberian government. In fact, interesting, I was in government at the time. That Ellen Corkrum lady, now figurative Ellen Corkrum, was going to be the chief of staff of the Liberian Armed Forces. That was the initial offer that was circulated, that a Liberian lady who was serving in the U.S. Army was going to come to be the chief of staff of the Liberian Armed Forces. So the current defense minister, Brownie Samuka, was that person making our contact. So now I just want us to take into account the personal interest Brownie Samuka has also in her. We don't know whether it goes beyond professional or the social dimension to it. We don't know all of that, but it's up there, it's out there. We can all have second thoughts about it. I want to put that out. And Councillor Jayweh and many other Liberians listening now, it is not in dispute. What Ellen did is in small measure. When you take into account the activity of the likes of Councillor Chawan Gonglo, who currently lives in Liberia, who has had a very stinking criticism of President Salih's government and still live in safety. Councillor Jayweh knows that. You have even John Molu, the leading anti-corruption guru for Liberia, is returning hopefully this month or either January to Liberia to safety. He feels safe. He's going back. John Molu continues to be critical, and he's returning home. Alosha Toa has gone home and returned here. And scores of Liberians who are very critical on the entire government activities live in Liberia and they feel safe. Now, for Ellen now to continue to run away and have under legal technicality, Jayweh and his client are trying to shield her on using thin legal technicality like all these recordings. Let's backtrack what her own brother said, that we should look at the timeline of some of the recordings his sister made. It will appear that she had a desire to fight corruption or expose corruption. If that was a desire, we presume, if that was a desire, then this is the best time for her to go back home, because you know what? She is going to be making those revelations in a court of competent jurisdiction, should be under the protection of the courts of Liberia. And now her brother says she's an American citizen, and there are other indicators for us to be convinced that she is an American citizen. So an American citizen in Liberia, nothing will happen to her. So it is good that she even willingly return home, as opposed to howling that low. Liberian God, no indictment has been said. Yes, Councillor Jayweh is fair. No indictment has been said because the Liberian government does not operate in the United States. To do so, you have to go through extradition treaty. There has to be different negotiation. She will have a lawyer to even fight that in the court. Liberian government will have to hire a U.S. registered law firm here to also fight that in the court. It will cost taxpayer millions of dollars, if not hundreds of dollars, maybe millions of dollars to just get her to Liberia, and maybe for an amount that may be lesser than the amount they will spend to get her there. So those are all decisions that have to be made as to whether they make decision between building road to Bapolu that might cost maybe, say, $500,000 as opposed to spending close to $1 million to get one person who has betrayed her country. It's a public policy decision that has to be made. And I think we should not bury ourselves or bar ourselves from opening our mind to those realities as well. We come from a third world country with vast resources but limited cash or reserve. So when we're making decisions that involve spending cash, we have to weigh against so many options. And that is what Ellen or Jayweh and his clients are trying to take advantage of. That Liberia can spend $1 million, we're going to hire this one. And I think this is nothing but a publicity stunt. It's not a commitment to fight corruption. Now, Councillor Jayweh, the issue you've come by, I know others have raised it, but probably they have not raised it in the context in which I see it. Yes, we believe that every single person in all of what we all have fought for over the years has been having access to justice. What you are trying to do now with this legal thing, legal technicality, is to undermine the struggle we all have been in to guarantee all Liberian access to justice. You are trying to legally, technically preventing Ellen from having access to justice. She needs to go to Liberia and have access to justice. And say you as a Supreme Court, as a lawyer of the Supreme Court bar, as a member of the Supreme Court bar, and say you don't believe in your own legal or judiciary in Liberia, then yes, that one is a different question for you. But I do believe you believe it. That's why you have your law firm in Liberia, and it's operating. That's why you still go to court to represent all of our clients. I have no doubt that if you didn't believe in our system, the law firm will be shut down. It will not be operational because you think the court system is bad. So I just want you to be aware, and it's not that when you are a human rights lawyer, you can't defend criminal. Even the worst criminal can be defended, but you defend that criminal in court. You don't shield that criminal from going to court. That undermines the argument itself that we want everybody's rights to be protected in the code of competence, in the code of competent jurisdiction. And it is that belief that you are undermining, Councillor Jayweh. Now, that said, I still have a few more things to say. Councillor Jayweh, for example, said that the indictment, as soon as the indictment was made, the next day was on front page. Councillor Jayweh, you are living in the past. In Liberia, we have Freedom of Information Act. The act is very broad and very clear that anything that the taxpayers' money is spent is open to public access. The public have the right to know your salary, have the right to know if you are a minister and you eat in a particular restaurant. If that money, if that restaurant bill is paid by taxpayer, fund is paid through budgetary allotment, the public has a right to know. The public has a right to know how much you spend to travel. It is the law guarantees that right. And I think even in the United States, that right is also here. That's why when a minute indictment is served on any public figure, that indictment, depending on your profile in government in the United States, it's in the press. It's on the internet. So I don't think that in itself was anything bad. If you think it was bad, it's because probably you have not read the FOIA, the Public Information Act. Probably you have not read that, or you could be living in the past. So Liberia is living in the present on that one. And let me also add to her brother who spoke from Canada. Let him know that his sister was serving and being paid by taxpayers like $10,000 in salary, excluding amenities. She was living in government rented house. She had government pay for car, her fuel. She had someone making tea for her to drink, someone reminding her it's lunchtime. I mean, she didn't have those opportunities in the United States. I can guarantee that.
Oh,
thank you.
Let her brother know that her sister was a public figure, and everything she did in Liberia comes under public scrutiny. And that those are decisions you make when you go in public service. When my brother Tawan Gonglo went ahead with Ellen and disagreed, my family was under public scrutiny. Those who felt he was way above the mark by issuing 15-page indictment on Ellen, they came after us in the press, the radio, our news or talk show. Yes, we didn't have to go after them and say, "Oh, what you do?" No. Our brother was a public servant, and he's still in public domain, so his action comes under scrutiny. Nathaniel G wrote countless pages of paper on him, some of which are new, were propaganda, were not in facts, but I didn't have to go through Nathaniel G to say, you're doing no. No.
Mr. Gonglo, we'll have to leave it there.
Yeah, and I think these things we need to be very clear on that. Let us not pretend about it. And my last point is, Kafumba, I'm one of those who believe that this action, and I can tell Councillor Jayweh that, it undermines those who believe there should be dual citizenship in Liberia. I'm one of those opposed to dual citizenship. And I think these are exactly some of my reasons that I'm opposed to that. Those Liberians who have obtained dual citizenship here, and some of them serving in the military, some of them serving places in the United States, that will make it difficult for a third world country government to go against them when there is a commission of wrongdoing. It's precisely, I think Ellen case is a classic case. New Democrat story was quite in place. And this cannot be argued against. It is clear. Why if she didn't have dual citizenship, she would not be in the United States. She'll be somewhere else.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Governor. Sorry, we'll have to leave it there. That's a lot of information. Yeah. So Councilor Jayweh. Please, by all means, please go ahead. Yeah.
You know, I really don't like to talk about my colleague lawyer what he's doing, especially Councilor Gongo, Tiawan Gongo, what he's doing and what he's not doing. But Councilor Gongo's brother has not done him justice. Councilor Gongo is not arrested. He's not indicted. He's never been threatened by the Ellen Sali government. So to say he's staying in Liberia, doing public service, Councilor Gongo is not to answer to court. He goes to court as a lawyer. There's no law, there's no indictment pending against him. My client is being charged and indicted. He named Elisha Toh of going to Liberia. He named the former Auditor General John Molu to go to Liberia. John Molu has no writ of arrest out for him. And again, I'm surprised because Gongo's brother is a lawyer. Why wouldn't Gongo understand that when a person is charged with a crime, the responsibility to get that person to court and prosecute them and prove them guilty is the government of Liberia. We don't go passing around and saying, here I am, come and arrest me. And we're not shielding anybody. You know, the idea that our profession, our practice is causing us to shield Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson, that's untrue. We're only saying that the law requires that he who alleges the commission of a crime bears the responsibility to prove it. That's as simple as that. Unless Gongo think that we're in Europe, where in the what you call it, the Russian country where a person is considered guilty until he proves himself not guilty. We're not talking about that. Like the legal system is after the American system. You must prove your crime that you charge against the people. Ellen Corkrum doesn't need to go to Liberia to clear her name. She got nothing to clear. Melvin Johnson had nothing to clear. Serve the indictment. This is very simple. Here the kind of thing Gongo was telling you that because government in public policy decided to build road in Bopolu. Where's the road in Bopolu? The build road in Bopolu, so it will not, even though it indicted people, put people's name in the public and say that they committed crime. The government is not after prosecuting them because it rather uses money to go build road to Bopolu. Is that something that we need to hear? And then he's saying that, it is people, are disappointed that we're representing these people. Why if Gongo today is arrested, he doesn't want anybody to represent him? Ellen Corkrum is an honorable person. Melvin Johnson is an honorable person until the government can prove otherwise. The burden rests on the government. The thing's simple. Why can't they serve the writ of arrest? Why can't they serve the indictment? And why they continue to lie that they have served the indictment and the writ of arrest when that has not been done? Can you imagine the government would do that? You're talking about safety? The people were threatening they should return to Liberia. Recently, I can also add, just printed, let me say that before I conclude. I just printed from on the internet when President Sali returned from Kuwait and went back to Liberia. She called a press conference and made a speech. What did she do? She called Ellen Corkrum as a criminal mind. That's a country you want to go to for your client to face trial when the president of Liberia can come out and say that the defendant that is on an indictment that has not been arrested and said we copied the indictment is guilty? You know what? The simple thing is I challenge the Liberian government. You want to have a trial? Let's ask for one courtroom in New York. Ask the American government to give us a courtroom in New York. Bring all of the Liberian lawyers. We don't have American judge. We have Liberian judge. We want a neutral ground.
Councilor, with all due respect, since when that started happening. When will America ever set up a courtroom in France or Australia, Rica? Why should the Liberian government have to do that?
Well, let me tell you something. President Salif, I go back to the record. President Salif is is the first highly educated president. I'm not talking about interim president. I'm talking about regular president. Highly educated and experienced president. But President Salif, for me, is a disappointment. She involves herself in all the legal things. Recently, when the gag order was issued, what did the president do? The president came on radio and told the world that President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, just told the Minister of Justice to go to court and withdraw their petition for gag order. You know how that process should have been corrected? If we were going to file prohibition proceeding against the gag order. So the Supreme Court was going to rule that Judge Blamo Dixon was wrong. Now President Sirleaf sitting down across the road calling Minister of Justice official to go and say, do this, do that, do this. Is that the kind of government lawyers want to work for?
Well, the Justice Minister work for the President. What's wrong with the President sending the Justice Minister to the court to go do what's supposed to be done legally?
No. The Justice Minister works for the Republic of Liberia, not for the President.
Granted, she does, but she's appointed serving at the way and the pleasure of the President. So if the President sends her to go to the court, and do something legally, what's wrong with that?
Kafumba, here is the thing the president should have done, and I hope people who are advising her, again, part of it goes to the point that people who legal advise the president may be inexperienced. So therefore, the president will come and talk before they try to cover up the mess. When if the president wants the Minister of Justice to go and do certain things in the court, it does not become part of the press. The president will hold a meeting with the Justice Minister and say, look, Madam Justice Minister, we think the gag order that you guys are doing may be detrimental to the freedom of speech and the right of the people to know. Why don't you go and enter a withdrawal? That information become a proprietary information. It doesn't become a part of president's speech.
Okay. All right. It is my intention to end this show no later than 9 o'clock, and it's 8:16 right now, so we got less than an hour. We actually got less than 40 minutes, I like to think. So we will take follow-up callers here, and it's been a great show, at least to me. I hope it is to you the same way. So let's take Senior Jayweh again. Let's see what he has to say. So follow-up caller, Mr. Jayweh, welcome back to the show.
Yes, Brother Corkrum, thank you again. I just wanted to go back to what Cllr was saying. It's unfortunate that Cllr will even try to question Councillor Jayweh for representing Melvin and Ellen. And let me remind Cllr, the folks that I told you about, previously in my first comment, that were arrested on the day that President Ellen Johnson was coming, Mobile Model and others. It was his brother, Tawan, that represented these people that the government called, terrorists or charging them with sedition or calling them a bunch of troublemakers or people who want cause instability in the country, whatever name they called them. It was his brother who represented them. All right? So what is it wrong? What is it that Councillor Jayweh had done so much to represent honorable Liberians, good Liberians who are only passionate about serving the country, but to be blackmailed by this very government? All right? Besides that, I hear people talk about, the tape was edited or the tape could be edited. How disingenuous can we be to ourselves? Are you telling me Vernon Samika did not say these words? Were they edited? Or are you telling me that police director Chris Massacre did not say these words? Were they edited? In their own words? Then you say edited? So what is so much? I just don't fathom how Liberians think. That's why we have the trouble we have in our country today. The government is carefully manipulating the whole circuit to play politics at the detriment of innocent Liberians, at the expense of innocent taxpayers, to the advantage of the government to perpetuate its evil. against the people and silence the people. The educated Liberians that know, so I'm framing this way, so-called educated Liberians that know that on their phone and other places will continue to buy into that, falsehood of the government. It's kind of troubling. Sorry for me to say this, but it's troubling. Because some of your callers that call here that listen to this, some of them are my friends. So for me to hear and talk about, it could be edited. So Glenn Summercamp voice for edited. Then he came and apologized and said, I said these things. Today, the police director just said, I have no regrets because my conscience couldn't allow me to see this happen to these people. Then we sitting here to make it look like the government is innocent. This government is no different from the ones that are accused in the past. Ellen has failed Liberian people, period. Go and support Ellen, that's fine. I don't support her, that's fine. We respect each other. But the fact remains here is the burden of proof is on this government. If the government thinks Ellen and Melvin have done wrong, prove it. Prove it, government. So the excuse of taxpayer money or come to the court, that's just bogus talking. The government, if the government thinks, how can you even think that Eddie and Melvin will go to Liberia and say, okay, we can't in court. Oh yeah, we're just outside to the any of us on the phone here today, if God forbid any of us were accused of any crime, whether in America or Liberia, you think if the American government don't come after you or if Liberian government doesn't come, you go in court and say, yeah, I'm here. I won't prove myself innocent. I dare anybody tell me say I'm wrong, then God bless you. But that's not true. It's not how it works. The burden of proof is on the accused. If you think I did something wrong to you, come in the court, they'll go prove it. That's why it's done. So it's no different from what the able counselor is seeing here. All right? And let me close on this issue of, Melvin and Ellen dual citizen, and because of that, it has trouble in dual citizenship. That's not true. I know some people, like the counselor said, I know some people who are American citizens in the Liberian government. Assistant Minister of Gender is an American citizen. He's in the government. Patrick Sawyer, I will call his name. When he came here during the Amara demonstration in Minnesota, he walked to Amara Corner. He said in his own words, many people are there. I wasn't the only one. He said there are so many of us who are American citizens in the government. So let's forget about dual citizenship. So it has nothing to do with Melvin and Evelyn. All right? It has nothing to do. They have not in any way endangered your dual citizenship. If you want to be dual citizen, God bless you. Go and take on Liberian citizenship and take on American citizenship. Go and do it because we have a country that does not even apply its own law. It only cherry picks the law. Selectively, the country, this particular government, takes the law it wants and goes after the person or people they want to go after. That's what is happening in our country. Until we can be honest to ourselves and forget about whether you like Ellen or you hate Ellen and say the truth, we will continue to suffer. We will continue to perish because the Bible says my people are lack of knowledge, and that's why they perish. And that's why killing us, because we have taken God out of the whole equation. We put ourselves there, and ourselves not doing nothing. All we do is just lie and perpetuate lies and hatred against peaceful, innocent, good Liberians, professional Liberians. You think Ellen doesn't have time to stay in America and enjoy herself? But she wants to give her service to her country. Is that what she gets for giving her services to her country? Some people to blackmail her so she can look the boogie man. Then we sit here and trying to put spin around it when there's no spin to be put around. The government has failed, period. If the government has charges against our people, bring the charges, bring the evidence. We will submit our people there and we'll go after the government. We'll be there in court to tell the government, prove it. Yes, thank you so much.
All right, I'm going to say, hold on here, Councilor Jayweh. Hold on here. That's the two things that's happening here. Two things. Usually, I think this will be the first time, at least in my memory, where my callers have made direct reference to one another on the show. Mr. Gonglo, for instance, made several references to Ellie's brother who called from Canada, and now I hear Senor making reference to Mr. Gonglo. Now, obviously, as you will imagine, those two people are waiting the queue. They've just re-entered the queue in order to respond to those allegations or references made. The good thing I'm excited about, all the references were on good note. There were no name calling. So let us stay respectful that way. We can disagree and still be respectful about it. Councillor Jayweh, let me know. Look, it's been said that. Hello, are you on, Councillor?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, great. You know, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, like someone rightly alluded to her, you know, as being the most educated. I think you did.
I did.
The most educated Liberian president. I agree with that. And if Ellen has done nothing for Liberia, we know that at least Ellen has, you know, really elevated the status of women in Liberia. Now, when you look at the qualification of Madam Ellen, you know, Corkrum, nobody can see her resume and not want to hire her. All right? So Ellie was right, you know, in going after her to come and serve her country, just as, you know, as her brother said. Now, my question is, what's wrong with that? Ellie saw her, she's qualified, and she did whatever, you know, she could to bring a qualified Liberian home to work. And she came home, and now we've said many times today that these recordings, the collection of documentation to prove that there's corruption going on in Liberia, all of these things started before we even got to these most recent issues of $269,000 investment.
Right.
So how do you feel about the fact that Ellie recruited this young, potential, highly qualified Liberian to go home to work, and what she does in turn, you know, start recording people and start, you know, collecting documents here and there. So did she actually go to serve Liberia in good faith, or she just went there as an agent, you know, of corruption? Which is it?
Well, let me tell you that I as a person, have nothing against Liberians who have come here, gained sufficient education, well educated, and return home to work for any government. I will not work for Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government because I just don't want to. I don't think it's a government I can work for. But hiring women or hiring Ellen Corkrum, there's nothing wrong with hiring any Liberian who may see the need to go work for the government as they are working. As I said, there are many friends that I know that are working in the government have very good position. One very good example, my friend who, a colleague lawyer who works now as a chairman of the Election Commission. I don't have anything against Liberians who become U.S. citizens and decide to go back to Liberia and work. The problem is not U.S. citizens. The problem is that allegations are made against people, and those allegations should be proved beyond all reasonable doubt. It's a very high bar. In civil practice, there is what they call the preponderance of evidence. You must show by putting pieces of evidence here, there, and together and establish that someone is liable. In the criminal case, you have to prove it beyond all reasonable doubt. That's why the law says the slightest doubt will work in favor of the defendant, even if his guilt is as visible as clear day. The law requires that he is set free on the allegation. Now, what made Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson to begin to tip the government official? I mean, I'm not part. I don't know why. I think they've been Liberian citizens. And the other thing maybe we need to look at is that children that came from Liberia, perhaps at the age of 3 or 4, that went to school here and have finished college, maybe got a master and whatnot, they are different from children in Liberia. They are different from you and myself who were born in Liberia and still got Liberian accent and know Liberian culture and Liberian tradition, Liberian custom. Where in Liberia we say the boss man is the chief. American kids don't believe that. When they see you doing something, I'm sure your child that went to school here will sometimes stand before you and ask you why. We get offended when our Liberian children stand before us and say why, right? But that's how American children are taught to be very outspoken and go after things. When they see issue wrong, Ellen, I assume, kind of logically begin to tip the government when they saw that there was real corruption going on. The other tip that I think that will be played or has been played has to do with the government going after giving the contract to Equatorial Guinea to repair the RIA and build hotels and other things there. That one of the Liberian newspapers reported that allegedly reported, I mean not even allegedly, reported Chronicle, the National Chronicle reported that the price of renovating the airport, one of the reasons why Ellen was removed, was that the price for renovating the airport, it is alleged that it was double up, it was increased so that some people would get money at the end. So renovation of the airport and building the hotels and all the houses around there should have been something like $60 million, I understand. But it was pushed up to $160 million. So somebody in the corner, some big person will get $100 million and share it. And when they saw that she was not going to dance by the song, that's when they begin to become suspicious of her. And that President Salimi had lost confidence in her and gave the instructions she gave because at some point she felt that she was under threat. When I say threat, meaning that information out of the government would leak. And that what she considered as security information is not information Ellen Corkrum considered as security information. Where $150,000 is paid to the police director to take responsibility, that's not security information, that's a crime. So the recording was done perhaps as a means of letting Liberian people know, what do you have? The bookman you have sitting down that look like Jesus Christ before your door, look at that bookman. Many things we know today we will not have known if those recording were not done. Were those recordings done to unearth crimes? Yes. And, have the government come out and deny that those crimes were committed? No. It come out to deny? No. I told somebody that the government will not fire one person. Any of the officers, any of the security people who assisted Ellen Corkrum and people to leave will not get fired. Why? Because they know more than what Ellen then reporting. So, we have to be fair to ourselves to say, here is what we have tried to do. I have tried to see whether we can get the government to compromise this case. Because it's not only Ellen Corkrum that in the press, it's Liberia that is in the press. And people complaining that Ellen Corkrum is a U.S. citizen. Man, there are many Liberians who have gone back to Liberia who are U.S. citizens, who are doing well. It's not because they are U.S. citizens. It's because the thing is, when you say a crime is committed, don't cherry pick. Today, there's a U.S. citizen in Liberia in jail, Dr. Abba Brooklyn. He was a former chairman of the Liberia Telecommunication Authority, the regulatory arm of the telecommunication system. He's in jail in Bombay Hills. He was prevented from being represented. Councillor Jerome Vaudier was supposed to represent him. When Vaudier tried to go to Bombay Hill, the government tailed him from place to place. What are we talking about here? That lawyers are tailed by security cards when you want to go to court?
All right, Councillor Jayweh. Let's take with 28 minutes to go. Let's see if we can squeeze in these people here, so we can go. Got 28 minutes left, and folks. After the show here, if you wish to listen to a repeat broadcast of tonight's show, the number to dial will be 559-726-1299. The SIM access code you used to come on the show, 908209. Follow up with a pound sign. That will allow you to listen to a repeat broadcast of tonight's show, at least until we have time to upload the show on YouTube. So let's go back to George Toto. Mr. Toto, welcome back to the show. Quickly, your follow-up question, comment, or concern.
Yeah, thank you, Kafumba. But the other point I wanted to raise, looking at the credibility of some of the statements that they made on the air tonight concerning some of the speakers. I don't want to mention them personally, but I think what I get from some of the speakers, they have personal issues against the government, or maybe the government are serving to the way of their pleasure. And then also, looking at some of the issues, they have. Let me just refer to, in particular, he have an anti-corruption campaign movement in the diaspora. They are going against government.
Who is that now? Who you referring to?
ASIC.
ASIC, who is you mean Seyo?
Yeah, Seyo, sorry, Seyo.
Seyo, okay.
Sorry for that. They have an anti-corruption movement that go against government officials tonight, and they are campaigning against corruption, against government. Even the president of Liberia The reason why they do this, people support this because they want to eradicate or ill that affect our society.
Okay.
So if people will take to be an citizen and you bring yourself your eye and then you come in all the support there to give the reason why they did it because it was right, I have serious problem with that campaign movement.
Okay.
You know, no matter what it is an act of corruption. Everybody knows that Ellie have good intention to save Liberia, but she will fall in a corruption ring. She should be penalized for that through the court of law, and which Councillor Jayweh also he has a disappointment with the government, but he has the right to represent. I have no problem with that. But if you're serving in a particular arm to promote a just cause for a country that you want to see certain transformation to take place, if you come out of support, it's very clear that you support a serious problem on it. That's the point I wanted to share.
Okay. All right, Mr. Toto. Valid point. Your point is well taken. I think I can identify with that, Councillor Jayweh. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I have
but
no comment.
Yeah, in Liberia, we say two wrong can make one right. So
the only comment I have is that Mr. Toto has concluded that Ellen Corkrum is guilty of corruption, which is a violation of Ellen Corkrum's right because the law doesn't say that. It said the government should prove it.
Okay. All right. Folks, trust me, man, please don't accuse me of any more bias because I'm really going to start getting tighter on time. We've been here well over 2 hours, if not 3, so we'll be limiting your time so we can get out of here at least no later than 9 p.m. Central Time. 2929-2929, your name, where you calling from, and your question. I don't know if this is a follow-up call, new call, but I don't remember. Your name, where you calling from, and your question for Councillor Jayweh.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, your line is open. We can hear you.
All right, this is Gabriel Nimla in Ohio.
All right,
Gabriel
Nimla. Yeah.
Gabriel Nimla.
Yeah, Gabriel Nimla. Go ahead, Mr. Nimla.
Yes, I'm going to be brief because I know there are a lot of people on the line who would like to talk.
Right.
Now, the brother who was talking about Ellen is the most educated Liberian president. I don't know what that means. It sounds very funny, but I don't want to be judgment. I'm not going to stand in judgment with him. Now, we all keep talking about this corruption. I've said this, my brother, on your program one time.
Okay.
It's easy for us to sit outside and talk and see everything happening in the government. I will be the last person to defend Mrs. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf because she used to be outside condemning corruption. It's worse now. But when we get there in those positions, we do worse things. It's either we don't love our country, we don't care. So it's very easy. All of us on this show now talking about, this thing happening in Liberia, this thing. When we get there, what do? We do the same thing. That is what Siaka Stevens used to say, the late president of Sierra Leone used to say, we talk what we not for talk. When are we going to be committed to our country? When? It bothers me. So, my brother, you say Ellen is the most educated president. Maybe you were just born this morning. And it depends on what the definition of education is.
Those are Councillor Jayweh's remark, though. That's the lawyer.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
You can go.
No, Mr. Nimla, you stay on. I'm just saying that it was the lawyer, Councillor Jayweh, who said that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is the most educated Liberian president.
I know that. That's why I said the brother. I didn't say you, Mr. Chair.
No, I know. I know.
The brother who spoke.
Okay. So are you done? Mr. Nimla, are you done, Mr. Nimla?
Oh, yes. And Mr. Chair, well, we will talk later because, we talk always,
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you always talk. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nimla. Councillor Jayweh, do you want to say anything to that or just keep going?
I just want to tell Minister Nimla that every Liberian, may decide to choose who they think is more educated and experienced. My choice of one of the real strong critics against Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, but I believe that she's educated and experienced, and she should do better. That's where I'm coming from. But there's nothing else I got. It's not attempting to bribe her with what I'm saying. I mean, having had all of these international experience, I thought she should do better. And I still hold the view that she's the most educated and experienced president.
Okay. Now we're going to hear from Ellie Corkrum's brother in Canada again. I hope it be brief. I'm running out of time here, so please keep it brief. Go straight to the point. Our Canada caller 7743, Ellie's brother. So welcome back to the show.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. No, hold on here. No. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Now,
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Because you had me muted there for a second.
Right.
Listen,
right. But just a quick
Yeah. I'm not going to go and be addressing what other people may think about what I said or what my sister did or whatsoever. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, right? But what I'm saying is, when it comes to trying to use her as the poster child for dual citizenship, right? Mm-hmm. Look at other countries around the world. Successful countries have dual citizenship. A lot of people look at Ghana and say, oh, Ghana is so successful. But look at the history of Ghana. Ghana had drought. They had tough times when Rawlings took over. They were in Liberia in the streets sleeping sleeping wherever, right? Mm-hmm. They went back. They went back and built their country. And that's what counts. Now, people talk about, oh, she was getting paid this and this and that. No one goes to work for free, especially when you have a house and mortgage to pay. I personally took a container of computers down, right, because I have the IT background. I built the first 10-client lab in all of Liberia. I built it at AMEU, right? I built 2 labs there. I built another one at another school they had and whatever. I went back to help them set up a project where that I would build the lab for them, train the teachers, have everything, and it was only $10 per computer per year. In my opinion, I got ripped off because I never got a cent back. Now, would I go back to Liberia to help after seeing what happened to my sister? Maybe not, right? I sent a 40-footer container down. It's well documented. Computers for School Liberia. And I'll tell you, I have dual citizenship, right? Or at least I hope to have dual citizenship with regards to going back to Liberia. I work in the security establishment where I have access to classified information, okay? What every person on this earth should do is if you see wrong, call it and say it's wrong. If everybody call a wrong, stick by your word and call a spade, this would be a much better place. So if she went there and she was recording from the very beginning, it wasn't that she was trying to bite the hand that was feeding her. No, she loved Liberia too much, and she could not sit by idle and let that happen. Because if you see something happen and you have knowledge of it and you do not take steps to expose it or prevent it, then you're part of the problem. And on that note, I would end my short foray on the program.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Jayweh. Before you come in, obviously that's Ms. Ellis Corkrum's brother, so he made some very salient points there. Of course, some of them are very much arguable. He made reference to Ghana, where dual citizenship is in place, and I think he's trying to imply that dual citizenship has helped Ghana a lot. And that's what some of the callers have been saying tonight. And that is precisely why Liberians in the diaspora are trying to push for dual citizenship. But the question becomes, if dual citizens like Ellie Corkrum, are continuously alleged to have done or to do what she's alleged to have done, how does that help the process of passing dual citizenship? All right, so I hope you think about that. But Yeah.
Let me. I want to say something on the dual citizenship. I didn't want to talk about it, but I would need to say something because it's been it's been put out there with wrong image. Before even the war, one good thing the Liberian war has done or did, Liberians never traveled. We couldn't even go Ivory Coast. We were hanging around Monrovia. Only a few of us who have money or the elite in Liberia could leave and come to the United States. If we go back to our history, we'll find that most of the presidents of Liberia were dual citizens, were people who were born here in the United States or had their grandparents and other people here that they went on till they became, served the country well. The idea is, the question is not dual citizenship. The real thing is that when people, there are many of the educated people who left from here that went now working in the government have decided to play by the drum, dance by the song. If you find corruption, get your own. And shut up. Ellen Corkrum has shut up, gotten her own order. Ellen was paid $13,000 a month. You and I know that, right? Ellen Corkrum has just said, okay, what the heck I care about how much money the people steal or what they do about this country. Let me make sure I get my, and she was not only making $13,000, she made $13,000 as a net income per month. Right. And she had other benefits.
Yeah.
So, but she said to herself, and she and Johnson said to themselves that this thing has got to stop.
Why did she also say, I've got to resign from this corrupt government, though? She still continued to occupy the post even after she discovered that there was corruption going on.
Oh, but I think if she was staying in Liberia, perhaps she had a timeline to get at the place. In other words, she wanted to have sufficient. I got a whole, the package that you sent to me. I haven't had time to sit down and listen to all the tips. I guess on her plan, she wanted to make sure who were all of those who were indictable. That could be indictable at the end of the day, collect all of those information and say, Liberian people, here is it. I heard Gongo saying that, Brandon Samuel can carry her to Liberia to become the first defense, chief of staff Liberia. She's a Liberian. What is wrong with she becoming chief of staff? She's a military Liberian who are going through elite and military here. Returning home and assisting the military to this bill, is that something wrong? I could return to Liberia today if I want to and start to work pro bono, teach at the law school for free. Like the other thing I wanted to add to Emmanuel Corkrum, even though I don't know him, I never met him, is that I don't think he should get discouraged to support schools and other places that he has been supporting. Because if we can support those institutions that had direct impact on Liberia, it is a good thing to do then. Because if people had not helped a sister out of Liberia, she'd be dead by now. So there's no reason to get discouraged to say, I will cut up my lap or I will not continue to support the areas. If I had a hand to carry 44 continue to put computer in all the high schools, I would be happy to do so because it would be helping Liberians.
One thing for the record, I profoundly disagree with you on Councillor, and I want to state this for the record, is the idea that had Ellie not left the country the way she did, she would have been dead, but that I profoundly disagree with that. Who knows? Maybe assuming that what Masakwa said was right, maybe she would have been arrested, and like the brother said, and then of course the U.S. Embassy would have the government of Liberia would have to notify the U.S. Embassy, and the whole process, But to say if she were running for her life, she feared her life. If she had not left. I don't think we can accuse the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf-led government of too many things, but I don't think that's one of the things. It hasn't gone that bad, not yet, and I hope never.
I don't know whether you listened to the news from Liberia recently. Firebally was killed 11 o'clock.
I got a phone call about that. A friend of mine told me, but there has been an arrest made.
Well, there have been no arrests made. I'm concerned with that kind of thing. And there are conflicting statements made. The spokesman for the police came out and said he believed that the person or the persons who went to Fire Bolly House and killed him right on Congotown Back Road had to do with a Guinean family that came from Guinea. Insinuating, if you read between the lines, that this person who killed Fire Bolly have fled the country and gone back to Guinea. No.
Every day people get killed in this country. Every day people get shot and killed.
Well, no, being shot and killed here. People playing with guns. One of the things I think America need to check itself. People got the gun is all over the place. That even in my state last week, high school, somebody who got annoyed, one of the students got annoyed with the teacher, went and bought his gun and went to go get even with the teacher. And when he did not see the teacher, he shot one girl. She's now, I think, out of his friend who tried to stop him. He shot her. She's on a critical condition now in the hospital, and he shot himself dead. Those kind of killings, people call it mental health and other things that they think going around. But where there are reasons. Look, if Ellen Cook, the reason why I continue to say what I said is that if the government like Liberia felt that at the end of the day Ellen Cochran committed a crime, there is a forum, there is a process. The process is to first summon her to the Ministry of Justice to find clarification. At the investigation, if the Justice Ministry find that she committed a crime, take her over to the litigation, criminal litigation section. I know a lot about the Justice Ministry. I know how it works. So take her over there, and at the end of the day, perhaps draw an indictment. The indictment that they had today, draw it up against her, and then arrest her formally and prosecute her.
All right,
but to have private meetings that security people have to come from. I can tell you another thing. What her name? Abla Gelebeko is a classmate of mine. We went to law school together. We graduated from law school together. Okay. Abla Gelebeko is no longer the director of the Liberia immigration. You know where she's now? She's at the RRC. She at the what do you call it? The rehabilitation, resettlement, something.
Right.
Resettlement, something.
Yeah. Right.
Triple RC. That's where she is now. Why was she removed? You may say, okay.
She was the commissioner of immigration.
Oh yeah, she was the commissioner of immigration. She was also the person who said that these people's lives are in danger.
Okay, and she has been.
She has been flipped. They just flipped her over to again. I can't prove that she was flipped, but she has been taken over to the Triple RC, and then Tonia, who also my classmate, is now the chief of immigration.
Okay, all right. So let's take just these people. Folks, please stop. Yes, I said stop. Please stop dialing *61. I want to take. Let's see. I want to take 5 of these the people in the queue here, and that will do it for tonight. So please stop dialing *61 because we need to get out of here. We've been here about 3 hours now. Let me take a call. Let me take a new caller. A call from a big fan of this show, a lawyer caller. Always on here, and a double graduate of the University of Minnesota, Mr. Skotumu Kamara. Mr. Kamara, welcome to the Liberian Diaspora Forum. Your question.
Thank you, Mr. Kafumba. I just have a quick comment and maybe a question. I don't know if that will be referring to the counselor, but I know most people say that there's a lot of corruption in Liberia, and saying that people come in this country, they will just talk and they go back, they do the same thing. And if you're looking at Ellen, I had another side to the story, to be honest. But now that I listened to the judge the last time, and I'm listening to you, I have different thoughts. So if you look at the story, I mean, what else could she do without, raising up her voice as a counselor? Do you know if she could do something else with the recording? Because especially knowing that she started recording before the whole thing came out in December. So what else could she do if Liberians are saying that, this is not the right thing? How could she raise her voice? Do you have any, as a counselor, do you really know how could she really raise her voice to this?
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Jayweh.
Yeah,
and Judge Melvin Johnson said over and over, and I completely agree with him, that all the conversation we're having here, if they didn't have the recordings that they have, who would have believed it?
Nobody.
Who would have believed anything that they said? So, in a way, when you look at it, the reason why we are having most of these conversations is because, I hate to say thankfully, but luckily for them, they got some documents now in the papers to show, but recordings where Liberians have heard they are of senior government officials. And as you said earlier, Councillor Jayweh, Brother Samuka said he cannot deny those recordings. The recordings are his, and that he takes full responsibility. So going to Ms. Kamara's question, short of those tapes, how else could have Major Corkrum, and Judge Johnson, raised their voice?
I think humanly speaking, considering the African setting, that we believe that the boss man is the boss man. They could not have done anything. And any attempt to have gone to maybe what she's talking about is going to senior government officials and say, look, what we see is wrong. We have put them into a greater problem than even what it is, because these tapes have people who are really, really high up in the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government. To go start saying, this is what it is. Minister of Finance, and if you follow the tape, Minister of Finance is like a central player. What about Connor? Amara Connor is a central player. Why everybody hate Amara Connor? The Bani Samaka raised the question too. The police director came out and said the man think that he alone not corrupt. Everybody corrupt, but he's not corrupt.
Yeah.
And everything that being said is being said today. I think the best thing they have done, which is a change of Liberian history, is that they have started to recall government officials who felt that they could do everything in the dark and would be covered. Today, you must say no those things because of the recording. It's not because Ellen was fired. People say she was fired, so she recorded people. 300 pages of email which I have in my office. You do that in one daytime? No, you can't. So she started doing them from day one. And again, because she's being patriotic, wanting the country to move forward, which most of all who people who like the tradition we have, what you call it, different view, there could have been no other way secure that she would have reported that, Madam President, these things are happening, and so if you don't correct them, it will be a problem. On one note, Julie Moore, the President, Deputy Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, you know what he said? He wrote Ellen Corkrum back and said, look, these things you're doing, if they come out, we have a way to go after you. So if they come out and say, these are the evidence we have, these are the email we have, you must say, God knows what will happen. Because where the president herself is involved in saying that, I don't think the way the people are acting is correct. That's not the thing we want. In fact, at some point, the president said maybe somebody who is at the House of Representatives or House of Senate influencing ability. Those things we have never known them.
Right.
And it would be difficult. I don't know how they would do it, but it would be very difficult that they could have come out in the African setting and try to link people, and the government would not have a problem with it.
And now you said they've taken these documents to the State Department, and
they don't.
So at the end of the day, what do they hope to achieve?
Well, at the end of it, you see, again, it goes to what they wanted the country to be like, because America is one of the major supporters of the Liberian government. Liberia gets huge amount of money in development fund from the U.S. government. Liberia get huge amount of money from the European. If Ellen Corkrum, let me go back. Ellen Corkrum had been like John Molu, just talk. Everybody would say Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson, because of the education, they want to be president in Liberia, so they hate the president. John Molu does not have anything to show except the other report that he has. Ellen Corkrum has solid evidence to show that. And where could it have been done? In Liberia, and you come out and call a press conference? You kidding me? Where will you live? Where will we sleep in the night? But you mean the director of police that he said these things on the tape in Liberia? Where will you sleep at night when you name the defense minister? Where will you sleep at night when you name the NSA, the former Sirleaf?
Somebody said recently that Musa Belete and Brother Samuka were going to overthrow the president of return. That person is still in Liberia, though. His head hasn't been cut off.
Let me tell you something. The young boy who said that is the youth leader for CDC. Jefferson Koji.
Right.
What has happened to Koji since he made that statement? Koji is a free boy in Liberia. Did the government investigate and find out that Koji was lying? And Koji named many meaningful people. He named Councillor Charles Bronsky. He named Brani Samokai. He named Billete. And he said he had other names we were going to court because these people said they were fed up with the Ellen government. And you know that information is treasonous. Wanting to overthrow the president by force, to kill her and take power by force is a violation of the Liberian Constitution and a violation of the Liberian criminal law.
Yeah, and if he hasn't been killed if he hasn't disappeared in the cloud of darkness for making, treasonous remarks like that, why should people who simply exposing corruption?
No. Koji did not. Here's Koji. Koji name, if anything, Koji is more protected by the government. Because Koji said the president of Liberia is supposed to be overthrown by A, B, C, D people. Mm-hmm. Will you not, in government, will you not want to protect that kind of person who could come and tell you, say, Mr. President, you will be overthrown in so time, and here are the people? I would have thought the government would have done well to go further and investigate whether these things are true or not. What did the Minister of Defense do? The Minister of Defense prematurely jumped the gun and ran to court and filed an action of damages for libel against Koji. The case is pending in the civil law court. What did that lawsuit do? That lawsuit prevented the police. Legally, it will prevent the police from investigating further because a case that before court cannot be investigated by administrative agency. Was it? I'm not saying he's involved in treason because I don't know. Was he involved in treason? Why did he not wait until the police conclude its investigation? Why has the government not gone further to tell the Liberian people that Koji lied?
Okay. Let's once again I have failed myself. It's past 9 o'clock, and here we are still talking. So there's no doubt that we're getting out of here very quickly. So to those of you who are still waiting here, I'll suggest this 1967 and 82-37. I'll take you two questions or comments together, and then I'll have Councillor Jayweh address. Those two questions together, and then I believe Gonglo and Seyo, those two want to talk about each other points that were made. So that's the order. That's my plan for getting outside of here. Otherwise I don't know. So Councillor Jayweh, just wait after 1967 makes his comment, his or her comment. I'll take another one, and then you can address the two together. Is that all right?
Okay.
Okay. 1967. Welcome back to the show. Your quick follow-up.
Thank you very much, Kafumba. I just want to, talk about the inconsistency regarding the council talking about wanting to, let's say they have a case in the civil court that, it is before the judge in Liberia. They believe in a civil action, but they do not believe in, they turn around and say, their claim would not have a fair trial in Liberia. I just think that it is an inconsistency. The second thing is, when they talk about patriotism, the last time Ellen Corkrum talked on the Radio LRB show, she said that she started recording in the United States before she went to Liberia, and when she was at the president's residence or wherever she was being lodged before she got a job, she started recording before she even started the job. So, there is an ulterior motive before she even got it. So that's another point, that because this came from her mouth. This is saying it came from her. The third thing is that when they talk about the tape, the tape is believed to be doctored. I don't think people are talking out of their head. We all know that in 2010 July, there was this lady from the agricultural department here in the United States, in the state of Georgia, where she went to the NAACP or the Black Civil Rights Organization here to speak about loans. And the conservative journalist that went there, he recorded everything, but he doctored it such that the tape, only gave one side of the story that was being that she has spoken on. And when it got released, on Fox News, and then it got, in the public domain, what happened? She was fired almost immediately, and then it was later on that it was proven that in fact, that was one side, or the whole story did not come out. This is one of the premises that people are making, or the argument that the tape scenes or doctors. So it is not completely out of scope to say that that is the case. And just one. Okay, because of time, I will just leave it at that. Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So, Councilor Jayweh, just hold on right there.
Okay.
Let me take one more here, so you can address those two together as a plan to get us out of here. I believe this is Mohammed Dukle, 8237. Mohammed Dukle, welcome back to the show. Your quick follow-up question, comment, or concern.
Yes. Thank you, Councilor Jayweh. I'm seeing inconsistencies between you and your clients. First, when your client Melvin George came on, Melvin Johnson came on the DIASPORA, I personally asked him whether he has any interest or any connection with the DIASPORA consultant or a company. He said he has no interest and he has no connection whatsoever. But he praised the institution that they did a very beautiful job. And now you come here tonight saying that Ellie Corkrum has a connection with Diaspora Consultant Company. That's one inconsistency between you and your client. Two, in a text message, in a communication from the letter, you mentioned about when the case was when the issue was raised with Ellen Corkrum. You argue on the letter that Ellen Corkrum is a major in the U.S. Army or former major in the U.S. Army. She's an American citizen. No Americans an American can be tried in other country. And today and tonight, you are coming out to say Ellen Corkrum and her boyfriend or whatsoever it may be, that they are patriotic Liberians. They are patriotic Liberians. They did a very beautiful job, and we should applaud them. Yes, we should applaud them. Why now? You have inconsistency in that way over there. You said they cannot be sent to Liberia. They cannot be extradited to Liberia.
They can be tried in Liberia.
Yes. And at the same time, you are saying they are patriotic Liberian. They did a very beautiful job. Okay. My question now to you. You are being advocating for the ills in Liberia on corruption and bad governance. And you are not pretending as if you are not advocating for that. And these people have been in charge. They are being indicted in this. And you're saying that, okay, they have not been served with any rate of arrest or whatsoever. Now, my question is, how can we look at you tomorrow?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Dukle. Hurry up quickly. Yeah, are you done?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, thank you. How can we look at you tomorrow? So, Councilor Jayweh, I hope you remember the first one and the second one here. And if you want to address those two.
If you can just, the first one, if you can just go over a little bit, give me the summary.
The first one was pretty much has to do with the fact that Ellen Corkrum started recording tapes before she even got on the job. When she got to Liberia, before she went to Liberia, she started doing these recordings. And quite frankly, I'm trying to think what the question was then.
I think that there's something like she's connected to DIASPORA consultant.
That was this second call. Okay, the man just came out, so let's have him go over here quickly. Yeah, just quickly. Can you what was it again?
Okay, what I said is that the inconsistencies One is that the councillor is saying that, he believes in the system on the civil side because they file a lawsuit. And then, but
now he remembers. Yeah, he remembers.
I remember that. Let me address it.
Okay, all right.
I'm a councillor of the Supreme Court Bar of the Republic of Liberia. Our office is an exclusive Liberian law office providing services to people who want to have their cases heard in Liberia. I have never said I have no faith in a judicial system. I never said that. I have never said that. All I said is that there are two cases. One is that we had two cases that were filed, one in March and one was in April before the civil law court. All I said that the two courts are different. One is a civil case, it's a civil court, and the other one is a criminal court. And I also not said that a criminal court would not give Ellen Corkrum a fair trial. I never said that. I have said that the government of Liberia has not done its work. It has not gone to serve the indictment. And the contrary to what all people out there believe, that Ellen Corkrum and Judge Melvin Johnson should go to Liberia and say, here we are, we come for trial. I hold a different view that the responsibility when you charge people with a crime, the responsibility to charge them, arrest them, take them to court and bring them under the authority or the jurisdiction of the court rests with the state. And I still maintain that a defendant is innocent until proven guilty. We got to stop saying that let them go home and clear their names. That's impossible. And I'm not saying the civil law court will do a better job and the criminal court will do a bad job. I never said that. I just said that the government of Liberia should go ahead and arrest them and take them to court, and we'll defend them.
Okay. And how about the second caller question that how should people see you in the future, Mr. Douglas?
I think if Douglas will hire me, I'll represent him. We got to get away from the point that when somebody is accused, that person is guilty. So anybody who go near them, they themselves they are criminal. Lawyers don't go to commit crime by defending people. Lawyers go to defend the rights of the people. For example, all of what I have been saying right now got nothing to do with the merit of the case. It got more to do with the procedure that the government is supposed to follow, and the government has not followed. That's all I'm saying. When you get to, I said that when you get to whether the indictment is good to be tried to convict my client, that's another issue that we discuss. When the government take upon itself to serve Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson with a copy of the indictment and the writ of arrest, and the time becomes fruitful that we can represent them either before a Liberian court, we can represent them. I never said I have no faith in the court system. I never said that. I never said that Ellen and Melvin Johnson will be running away from a Liberian court. I never said that. I'm saying that the procedure is that the responsibility to arrest them, take them to court, have them to be tried, convict them if they committed a crime is on the government of Liberia now, Ellen Corkrum and Melvin Johnson. They can go to Liberia if they feel like going to Liberia, but not to go to answer to a writ of arrest or indictment that has not been served.
Okay, we are getting there. We are getting very close. Mr. Gonglo, please, with emphasis on please keep it brief so we can get out of here. It's been over 3 hours. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Kafumba. But just on quick inconsistency of Councillor Jayweh, on this, let me point it out. You said, Councillor Jayweh, that you, in fact, it's unthinkable for Ellen to go there in Liberia to stand trial. But then you propose that there could be a special court in the city of New York, presided over by both U.S. judge and Liberian judge, and the case be heard. You propose that. That is part of the inconsistency because you have filed civil lawsuit on their behalf in Liberian court, but on the criminal side, you want a trial here. I don't know whether you can also proceed with your civil law action in Liberia without them physically appearing in the court to sign a document or come. Okay. So Judge
Jayweh, wait, hold on, Councillor, it's not done yet. Mr. Gonglo, can you conclude?
Yeah. So that's one there, but I just wanted to point out.
Yeah.
No. The reason is, I just need to clarify one thing that both Councillor Jayweh and Senor, how you call the guy name? Senor where? Senor Jayweh. Okay, I like to call his name Senor Jayweh. They have consistently engaged in what I would call academic dishonesty in this forum. I said one thing, and they have continuously misrepresented what I said. Jayweh and I work together in Liberian human rights community. We know each other very well. As a matter of fact, in this country, we do communicate. If you look on his phone, you see my missed call to him today. We do communicate. I have said, I believe in the legal and fair representation of all Liberians. All that Jayweh was doing was to undermine that process that we all have fought for years in Liberia, that there should be political participation, there should be equal rights, there should be equal protection before the law. This has been part of the Liberian struggle by no historical line. We have achieved that. Now he helping Ellen Corkrum with criminal mind to escape that process by hiding behind a frivolous legal technicality that she will not have a fair representation. That is my point. I've never said that it's wrong to represent them. I've never said that like Senor has inferred from me. It is wrong, and I've been very clear. I'm speaking English. I'm not speaking Mano, and I think that is academic dishonesty because they very clearly and they don't represent me otherwise.
Thank you. We'll leave it there. So, Councillor Jayweh, you want to, as much as I said, we'll take two at a time.
Yeah, you know, I just want calling Councillor Gonglo. I just want Caleb Gonglo to know that I, up to now, I'm having misgivings to even allow my clients to go to Liberia. And they are not to go to Liberia by themselves. The government should arrest them. The government should serve an indictment. The government should go, since they claim that they are U.S. citizens, the government should go ahead and serve what they call a requisition to extradite them. That's the process of law that they need to follow. The civil law issue that they continue to bring up, we're turning the heat up. The civil law case was some style, we're turning the heat up. So that's not anything that we have problem with. If the president, my problem is, you heard Gonglo concluded by calling Ellen Corkrum a criminal mind. That's why Ellen Johnson said. You want Ellen Corkrum and Judge Melvin Johnson to return to a country where the president has said that they are guilty without they being arrested? The government have had more than 125 days or 130 days up to this point, maybe pretty close 130 days up to this point to serve their indictment. Gonglo should start saying he fought for rule of law, he fought for human rights, he fought for equal justice, all these kind of things, and he have anywhere when selected justice is going on in Liberia. Yeah, anywhere where the president can call a press conference and say that this criminal mind that we're doing good for have become. She called her a rap, W-R-A-P-E-D. It means somebody whose mind is infested by criminality. If the president says that, who is the poor judge in Liberia that will say they will hear this case and be fair? We have not had an indication from civil law court that the civil cases that we file will not be heard. We have only had the time that the judge been very busy. We are not being able to do the law issue and other legal things. If we did not believe that the court would be, I just told my client, if they will find out that the civil law court will dance the scene, dance our song with us, we leave the case under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's under power. We know we get trial one day. I got two major cases in Liberia that I've left, and I hope I will take. One is against Firestone USTC. It's about $3.5 million against former USTC. I've decided not to take it up because I wanted the government that I believe in can be there before I can take it up. It doesn't mean the civil case will be there, will not be anything, will be out of there. So to start seeing that Ellen, I think Gonglo think that when Ellen and what you call him and Melvin go to Liberia and say we are here for trial, then justice is being done. No, that's not how justice is being done. Let him speak for the government. Let him tell the government to come and arrest the people from here and take them for trial.
Okay. Second to the last. Mohammed Kamara, Dallas, Texas. Welcome to the Liberian Diaspora Forum. Your question quickly. We are short of time.
Thank you, Mr. Kruma. And I'm going to ask my question first before I come to my before I actually do a brief.
Well, we haven't got much time, Mr. Kamara. We are really tight on time. So,
Counselor, don't you think your client actually wanted to take the Liberian government hostage by doing all the recording to say, okay, we got all the recording against you. If you can't give us this, we're gonna expose this.
Well, my client wanted to take the government hostage. Far from that. I mean, let me go back and tell you something. There is a culture in Liberia that government officials can steal Liberian people money and they can go without any proof. I don't know whether you, Mr. Kamara, I don't know whether you're in Liberia. When the interim government, the INGU, left office, you know what all of the government officials did? They even took down to chairs. Government purchased chairs in those offices were taken by government officials to their private homes. The computers were all taken out of the offices. Nobody can prove that today because when those government officials did that, there is nothing to show that Sawyer government did that. There's nothing. You cannot prove that government officials in Liberia during the Sawyer time, when Sawyer government were after 4 years when they were being removed, taking the rug and chairs and things. Nobody can prove that. So you and I cannot go to court today and try to hold Sawyer to say your government took away the chairs and the computers and the desks and other things that are in the offices. But today, believe me or not, whether you believe it or I believe it, when Ellen Johnson said it is removed, those tapes that are being played, government officials will be prosecuted. And I hope I'm lying. I'll be one of those persons involved in prosecuting them.
Okay.
Because we got something to prove.
Okay. Let's take the very last one for the night. Senor Jayweh, our departure from here tonight pretty much depends on you. So I implore you to keep it very brief. As well with all of the cross references made, please keep it brief. Mr. Jayweh, welcome back to the show.
I promise I will keep it very brief. Only 1 minute. First, let me thank you for the manner in which you have conducted your show. I will join the counselor in trying to honor your request to see how we can get Madam Corkrum on the show. We brought Mr. Johnson here. Today we are blessed to have the able counselor, and we'll definitely work on bringing Ellen here someday. It's not a promise, but we'll do our best to get her over here. Having said that, let me just clarify a few things to Mr. Gonglo. Let me refute your assertion that we have committed academic dishonesty. I don't think anything is academically dishonest here by saying let the government prove it, because it wouldn't be fair to say the burden of proof is on the accuser. If that being academic dishonesty, then forgive my dishonesty. And to my brother Toto, please don't give up. For us, advocacy is not a choice. It's in our DNA. We did not choose the line of work. We are blessed to be called to do this. True, I make no secret. Everybody who knows Sion will tell you that Sion doesn't support Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. It's no secret. I never supported people who care about people and have no reason to support them. So I don't support Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. That's the truth. But that's besides the point. What is happening now is, what do we have on hand? Does the government of Liberia have anything to prove that Ellen and Mervyn stole money? Let the government prove it. That's all we're seeing. Nothing more, nothing less. It has nothing to do with supporting Ellen or not supporting Ellen, because everybody who knows Sion will tell you that Chude Sion doesn't support the government. I don't make secret about it. But when Ellen moved from there, we'll support our country. But what we're seeing today and will be seen in this particular case, if the government has anything to prove, let the government prove it. Let the moderator, we're also blessed to have evidence in our possession, documents, email exchanges, the whole 9 years, we have those documents in our possession. So we are not just talking because we love Ellen and Mervyn, but we're talking on the basis of evidence that we have. So what we have seen so far, your government is there to prove that these people stole money. Let the government prove it, that's all we're seeing. The government has the power to prove it. Let the government prove it. Other than that, I still support Mervyn, I still support Ellen, and we'll do our best to make sure we shame this government. This government has failed, and Ellen must resign. That's the end result. To have a better...
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. C. I'm going to leave it there. Mr. Councilor Frederick Jayweh, I'm giving you the floor for your closing remark. And so, it's been a great show. Thank you for coming on. So your closing remarks, sir.
Okay. Let me thank all Liberians and friends of Liberia who came on to listen. And let me just strike a simple note. Whether we like one another or not, let us remember to obey the law. Let us make sure that when a person is charged with a crime, let us not tell them to go to court because the government has charged them. Let the government go after them, arrest them, indict them, try them, and prove them guilty, because the laws of Liberia say that a defendant and accused is innocent until proven guilty. I thank you for your time. Again, we have a website. If you intend to contact us, go to LiberianLawConsultant.org. We answer all of our calls in the daytime, and we thank the moderator for the time that we had to share.
On the text itself, we truly appreciate you being on here, and we very much appreciate all of the callers being on here as well. So thanks to all, and let's have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Good night.